It's Friday. You know what that means.
Yeah!
Welcome, everyone, to episode 354 of everyone's favorite wrestling podcast, the F and Marks.
I'm Jay. He is.
And I am a very, very happy and excited Brainless One because my favorite weekend now used to be one of my favorite days. It is now my favorite weekend of the year. It has surpassed the NFL draft only because I'm a Giants fan. But it's WrestleMania, baby.
All right. So are you saying WrestleMania weekend has surpassed Royal Rumble weekend?
Royal Rumble will forever be my favorite wrestling match of the year just because I've always loved the concept of the 30-man over-the-top battle royal. I have seen literally every Royal Rumble match there can be. I've seen a bunch of them so many times. I couldn't even tell you how many times
I've seen. But you're saying WrestleMania weekend is better?
Yes, of course. Absolutely.
Okay.
This is the Super Bowl, Jay. The only thing that's missing is chicken wings and the Jets sitting on the couch with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just, this is it. This is the big one. This is what we live for. This is why we do this podcast. Because the biggest weekend used to be the biggest day in wrestling. Now it's the biggest weekend in professional wrestling is upon us. This is it. I don't get any more excited and happier for a time period in wrestling than WrestleMania. And the best part about this year's Mania is this card is stacked. I don't care what everybody has been saying out there. I don't care that you think that after the tag team match with the Bloodline versus Cody and Seth, and then Cody and Roman in the main event. I don't care that you think that the card is mediocre. You're full of shit.
Yeah, this card's awesome.
LA Knight and AJ Styles is going to be a banger. Gunther.
Wait. While you said that, did you see the video from earlier today of LA Knight and AJ Styles? As much as they have not gotten, they've done a decent job building that up, but they did an interesting thing on social media there.
I love what they've done because they've kind of been using this whole social media thing. They had another scene a couple days ago where LA Knight showed up at AJ Styles' house, and you don't show up at AJ Styles' house. You ask Samoa Joe. Oh, Wendy. They had a brawl outside his house that led to LA Knight getting arrested. Yeah. They have been building this up so good. And we knew this was going to be the way they were going to go because of the fact that they literally dragged AJ Styles onto the plane to just do a step above what Karrion Kross did at the Clash of the Castles. Mind you, what AJ Styles did was more impactful and made a difference as opposed to Karrion Kross throwing a bottle of water at, Drew McIntyre.
But literally today, when they were roughing each other up, AJ Styles legit busted up. He was bleeding from his nose really good. And he looked legit, fired up. Tomorrow's match is Sunday's match is going to be stiff as heck.
Oh, yeah.
And going to be awesome.
That's the match, I hate to say it, that's the match I'm most excited for. And it's nothing against Cody Rhodes because I want to see him finish the story. I do. I could watch Gunther fight anything. He could fight this lamp right here and I would watch it. It'd be better than watching Kenny fight the blow-up doll.
I love lamp.
But, Sami Zayn and Gunther are going to have a banger. Jimmy and Jay Uso are going to put it all out there. I don't care. This is the match I am most excited for because AJ Styles, I've said it since his debut, has had a who's who of people he has wrestled at WrestleMania, and this is LA Knight's debut at WrestleMania. Yeah. This is going to be an all-time classic. Yeah! I'm excited. I really am. I'm excited for WrestleMania. This card is, and we got even more matches on Friday. I told you guys on the podcast last week, if they want to bring Jade Cargill into WrestleMania, into the fold, you have one or two ways you do it. Obviously, the better idea that you and I both agreed upon, Cousin Jay, was having her fight Nia Jax in a 20-second squash match where she beats Nia Jax, which would have been great. Or because you still haven't had anything figured out for damage control, if there's issues with Asuka, bring in a third person onto their team so you can lessen the burden on whatever's wrong with Asuka, whether she's banged up, hurt, injured, or whatever.
Sure.
Making this a 6-person tag is a fantastic call. Bringing Jade Cargill in there. And I know I've said what I've said a million times about Naomi on this podcast. But I'm going to tell you this much. There is not two people, if I'm Triple H, that I'm going to put Jade Cargill in the ring on a team with that I would feel better about than those two.
Sure.
I'm sorry. Bianca Belair has already won me over. She's one of my favorites. She is one of the best performers they have in the women's division. She's somebody you can rely on. I think that's a great, great thing that they've added to WrestleMania. Give Jade her first WrestleMania moment. Let Bianca continue on her Undertaker-esque undefeated streak and have her go to 4 or 5-0, whatever it is.
Sure.
I'm excited. Every single match I'm excited for, except for one.
Which one's that, Brainless One?
I feel like the lackluster behind the build was okay. It could have been better. It was kind of sloppily handled like it was last year when they did Dom versus Ray. I'm sorry. I am not in any way, shape, or form vested in the Dom and Santos Escobar versus Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee match.
Yeah, it feels very thrown together. And even last week when Ray made the announcement of, hey, you know what, we should have a match. Well, who is the crowd chanting for to be Ray's partner?
Carlito.
Nothing against Dragon Lee, and I know that they want Dragon Lee to, be built up and have his moment, but the crowd wanted Carlito, not Dragon Lee, and so far it's felt extremely forced, and there's no way I guess they could fix it from being extremely forced. I mean, last week I had people telling me like, hey, I think they're making Dom versus Ray a thing again. This is going to be Ray's retirement match. And I was like, no, that's crazy. I'm like, Ray literally just signed a new deal. Why would he sign a new deal to retire like a few days later? It didn't make any sense.
Right.
What they're doing now, it's like, okay, if this ends up being like a catalyst to break up, the Spooky Pals.
Spooky Pals.
It certainly could be the way that they have kind of Dom not clearing things with mommy and not, letting the rest of the Judgment Day know. So
I'll tell you right now, I am not upset about the whole Santos Escobar Dom Mysterio dynamic. I am not by any means. I've actually enjoyed their interactions. I think Dom would benefit more. He's established himself. He's developed a character with the Spooky Pals, and he's done a great job with Rhea Ripley. Don't get me wrong. He gets that heat. You bring him into Legado del Fantasma, and you really want to get some attention and some real heat on them, that's how you do it.
Make him the leader.
Yeah, and you make him the leader, and he overtakes Santos. I'd be on board with this. And it's funny because when I was doing the predictions before the show and, Nicole and I were talking about it and everything, and I was talking about the card, and I'm like, well, if there was a bathroom break, I'm like, unfortunately, it's that tag team match that we just mentioned. And she goes, why do you think that? And I said, well, I'm like, not for nothing against Dragon Lee. He's an incredible performer. I love watching him wrestle. However, there's been no build or anything towards him being a part of this match. And I said they dropped the ball because one or two people should have been in this match. Number one would have been my personal preference, and that's Bad Bunny, who's now my favorite entertainer in all of music because he is a former 24/7 champion and he is a future Hall of Famer, well more deserving than Coco Beware.
Yes.
But number two, Carlito should have been the pick. And Nicole was like, well, maybe they can fix it so that they can add Carlito to the match. And I said, you know what, Nicole, you're right. Or even Bad Bunny. I said, you know what, Nicole, you're right. They could do that. There is actually a scenario that they can do this where they can add Carlito and Bad Bunny to this match. However, in the process, that would mean that your least favorite tag team in all WWE, Los Lotharios, would then by default have to be included in this match to fit all these people. And she said, no, I'm good with the tag team match the way it is.
I just really want to throw some crazy idea out there. I want Bad Bunny to show up and beat up Lil Wayne in the middle of his performance.
I completely forgot Lil Wayne's going to be at WrestleMania. Everybody's going to be at WrestleMania. The Kelseys are going to be there. Lil Wayne's going to be there. I'm sure the Weeknd's going to be there. Obviously, the Weeknd's going to be there because it's
Gritty
Saturday
is
and
going
Sunday.
to be there.
Gritty's definitely going to be there.
Gritty stole Snoop Dogg's title. What was it, last year?
Something like that.
So
I need an RKO from, and I'm really sad about it because my top 10 list this week I'm very happy about. It's actually longer than my notes for this week, which is actually crazy. But my top 10 list for this week, spoiler alert for later on, it's the top 10 tinfoil hat theories for WrestleMania that can only come from the beautiful mind that is the Brainless One. And I did not think to add Gritty getting an RKO from Randy Orton because I just want to see it anyway.
Quite honestly, I think anytime you do one of these segments, you need to make a tinfoil hat. Put it on. There you go.
Way ahead of you. I said I'm making a tinfoil hat theory list, so I need to have a tinfoil hat. Whether or not it falls apart like the U.S. government is yet to be determined, but we will get there. It's more fragile.
Brainless again, 2024.
It's more fragile than our president's mind, and that says a lot coming from me.
Yeah.
The damaged mind of the Brainless One.
Yeah. All right. Chris Brown saying he believes the catalyst for the breakup of the Judgment Day will be a failed cash-in by Damian Priest. We will talk about that later on, but that is an interesting idea. And Chris Brown also chiming in saying he wants Bad Bunny versus Logan Paul.
A lot of people want to see Bad Bunny versus Logan Paul.
I want to see Mike Tyson show up in the corner of whether it's Orton or whether it's Owens, and then punch out Logan Paul. And then Jake Paul comes in, and then, they have business too. I want to see that.
Only if Captain Cupcake takes one to the side of his face too. From
Mike
Tyson.
Fight Owens fight is going to take it on the chin from WWE Hall of Famer Mike Tyson.
I need a knockout punch to Logan Paul, Jake Paul, Captain Cupcake, and when Mike Tyson turns around, he eats an RKO.
All right.
I need to see if FanDuel has an over-under on the amount of RKOs this weekend because I'm betting the shit out of the over.
All right.
Because I'm telling you right now, Kevin Owens is definitely eating one. Logan Paul's definitely eating one. There's a very distinct possibility Jake Paul's going to eat one. KS1 is definitely eating another one.
Yeah.
The referee may eat one. So whatever the over-under is, I'm betting the over. If it's 4.5, I'm betting the over. If it's 12.5, I'm betting the over. And Gritty's going to eat one of them.
I appreciate that.
It's either Philadelphia owes the world a lot. They gave us that sorry sack of shit franchise in the NFL. They brought a Super Bowl championship to there. Philadelphia owes it to not only the whole world, but they owe it to me as a Giants fan. After all those years, the stupid freaking pickup, the fumble-rooski with Joe Plasarchik, where freaking Herman Edwards picked it up and ran it in for a touchdown, and then I had to puke all over myself. The punt return by Deshaun Jackson. They owe me one of two things. There's only two things they can do. Philadelphia, I know you're listening. You either have to have RKOs for Gritty from Randy Orton, or your fans better pelt Hulk Hogan with snowballs. I don't ask for much from Philadelphia. Yeah, I had for years. I asked you guys not to win a Super Bowl, and yet you fuckheads did that. Ruined everything for everything. Because the best joke was when they were showing all the rings for the NFC East, and every other team had Super Bowl rings, and the Eagles had a blow pop. Fucking assholes, I swear to God. There's nothing good about Philadelphia except for the cheesesteaks. That's it. Cheesesteaks and Rocky Balboa, the only good things that ever came out of Philadelphia. Ugh. Why don't you guys sniff Vince Papali's jockstrap like you always do? Evil things, Jesus Christ.
So, I mean, in the lead up to WrestleMania this week, I had been ingesting all things wrestling, like beyond belief. Whether it's interviews the performers have been giving, whether it's documentaries, Raw, SmackDown last week, Dark Side of the Ring, you name it, I've been watching it. One of the things that was probably most notable was CM Punk and his interview with Ariel Helwani. Lots of tidbits on there.
Oh,
What did you think of this, Brainless One?
Are you kidding me? I have never been more excited to talk about anything in my life. You might as well just get the TISM thing up because it's about to happen.
All right.
You might as well just get it ready because it's gonna happen. I've been waiting for this day for a very, very, very long time. My biggest takeaway from the whole CM Punk and Ariel Helwani interview is the fact that not only was Jim Cornette right about AEW and the flippy fuckheads that they call EVPs, but I was also right about the flippy fuck EVPs and the way AEW is. How dare you, AEW fans, tell us that everything is all CM Punk's fault? Granted, I understand that we're getting one side of the equation.
Well, to be fair, we got the other side of the equation without getting a response from Pepsi Phil for quite a while. And he's like, hey, I'm making more money now because of all the crap that people are saying about me. And now, all right, I hope people believe it because it is, putting more zeros on my checks.
I had so many thoughts that crossed my mind. He mentioned the fact that they left him at the airport, and it's like, how do you leave your biggest star at the airport to try to find his way? And he's like, and the people are like, oh, you should call an Uber. How the fuck am I going to get to the arena in an Uber at a stadium that I have no idea where it is? They're just going to here's an Uber driver. Oh, by the way, I got your biggest star, your world heavyweight champion in the back. Come on.
Hey, to be fair, he wasn't the world heavyweight champion. He was in a prominent match. He was the curtain jerker. But hearing him tell the story of Jungle Jerkoff,
yep,
it comes back to what we've said for a long time about Jack Perry. Jack Perry is just immature and just needs to go away. He bitched out, it sounds like, according to CM Punk, everybody who was in a position of authority on AEW Collision. Punk, according to himself, calmly went over to him because apparently Jack Perry wanted to smash the window of a rental car. Punk, who has been up and down the roads for decades, more or less said, hey, if you do that, you're going to make it more difficult for the rest of us because they're going to say, hey, we rented this car and they smashed the damn windshield on national TV for funsies.
Yep.
And nobody else is going to be able to either rent a car from them or you're going to get charged something extra.
On top of the fact that there's shards of glass that's going to potentially fly into the air. And one of the people who told you no, Jungle Jerkoff, was the doctor for AEW and said it was a stupid spot because of the carelessness with the flying glass that could potentially hit you in the face or somebody else.
On YouTube, you know the deal. How has Safelite Auto Glass not reached out to Punk as a spokesman? I think that would be a great thing for them to do. But, not only was it the doctor, one thing that, we kind of sort of knew, but Punk said that, hey, I had two different contracts, and one of them was that I was a consultant and I was in charge of AEW Collision, and specifically said, as the person who was in charge of Collision, explained, again, according to Punk, in a calm manner, we can't do that. This is why we can't do this. and the way it sounded like Jungle Boy was kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, it's fine. And clearly he either went and had a hissy fit with somebody or told somebody, and they fired him up about the fact that he couldn't do exactly what he wanted to.
I can tell you exactly who it was.
Right. But, Punk's like, hey, if you want to do that on a Wednesday night, feel free. This is the show that I'm running. We're not going to do that here. And my favorite part of the interview, and I will clearly state, and I've said it many times, I'm not a huge fan of Phil Brooks, the person, the fact that he has walked out on a couple of companies, and it certainly sounds like there was a bunch of childishness going on. He still should have been the adult in the room, but when Jungle Boy did the thing that he did, cry me a river, it's real glass, cry me a river, and Punk confronted him. He's like, oh no, yeah, I didn't punch anybody. I mean, somebody might have been choked a little bit.
Jay, I'll be honest with you. I don't blame him for walking out of AEW. I can't. After hearing his side of the story, or the fact that after the brawl out, where he got into it with Larry the Dog and Kenny Omega and Cousin Chris, where Kenny Omega was bit and the Young Bucks, super kicked the door open and the dog beat the shit out of them all. And when he asked them to fire him, he told Tony Khan to fire him multiple times. I can't work here. The 2 separate shows is not going to work. None of this is going to work. Just let me go. The fact that he was out with an injury and you don't even talk to him, you don't even keep tabs on him, you just wait till 6 months after and then you're like, oh, let's see what we can do. He even mentioned it in the interview. He said that's the difference between the 2 companies. It's night and day. He goes, I had the injury where I injured the one tricep. I think it was a tricep, right? Or the bicep?
Yeah, it's his tricep. He injured the left tricep in AEW. He's injured the right tricep in WWE.
When he injured the left one in AEW, nobody reached out to him. He had to schedule all his own appointments and get his surgery scheduled and all that stuff. Nobody reached out to him. Nobody checked on him. None of that stuff. He said, when I got hurt for WWE, he goes, I got this person checking on me for this, and this person's doing this for me. He goes, this is a well-functioning machine that WWE is. And that was the one thing I took away from this. I can sit here and I can talk until I'm blue in the face, because I've done it before about AEW, about how AEW is just not an inept company that just can't handle the pressure of trying to be whatever they're trying to be, which is not a successful wrestling promotion. If you have people out with injury and you don't know what the hell's going on, that's not good. This is no different than the president not knowing where the Secretary of Defense is for a week. You don't know what's going on with your world heavyweight champion? You don't even know who's performing the surgery? You leave him at the airport? You have an issue with one of the wrestlers, and he tells you about it, and the boss goes, well, what do you want me to do about it?
Squash it.
Is AEW AGI or PAI? Is that what it is? Are they Professional Analysis Incorporated? Is that who runs it? Is their site manager a guy who never shows up on site? Is that what I'm to understand? Do they have fat dudes who fuck donkeys just sit in the corner doing nothing for 8 hours except smoking cigarettes and taking 2.5-hour lunch breaks? Do we have people who just sit on forklifts and just sit there while trucks pull up? Is that what AEW is? Is that what they are? My former employer? Huh? The ineptitude, the fact that there's no management, the fact that the inmates run the asylum, the cliques are running it. It's very awfully similar. This is bad. This is bad. There is nothing that I took away from this interview at all, other than the fact that there's so many people that he likes in AEW, and I don't doubt it. He made a lot of friends over there.
I mean, clearly with Jade Cargill, I don't know if you saw the Punk short documentary that they did
for the Rumble,
him showing up at the Rumble, but when he saw Jade, like he's talking to the people who are interviewing him, he's like, wait a second, I got to go over there and say hi.
I have, honest to goodness, Jay, I have loved every second of CM Punk's return to WWE, because we're seeing a side of CM Punk that nobody ever thought they were going to see. They just did a thing with the rivalries where him and Randy Orton watched the thing on the online, and they watched together their WrestleMania 27. My favorite match from WrestleMania 27, mind you. And they had that watch along, and I was like, I love you, brother. I'm glad you're home. Now let's go lead this locker room together. I love that. That's the guy that Tony Khan said he feared for his life from. I'm telling you this. I have been telling everybody this for 5 fucking years. Those 3 fucking goofballs who made a living fighting fuck dolls and 9-year-old children, super kicking with stupid loaded sneakers that look so fucking fake and phony, are the worst part about wrestling. They're not supposed to be EVPs. They shouldn't be managing anything. Nick and Matt Jackson should be standing at the end of an on-ramp of the highway with a sign that says, "We'll super kick you for a job." Those fuckheads are not wrestlers. They're not. That's my biggest fucking issue. Those 3 are not wrestlers. I'll give Kenny the benefit of the doubt because he actually looks like somebody who could wrestle. Nick and Matt Jackson look like they hang out at the freaking sleazy bars in Arkansas. Are you fucking kidding me? No. They don't want to come out here. They're all throwing a hissy fit. All the wrestlers are coming out. AEW saved me. AEW is the best. All this positivity shit. You have Adam Copeland, Adam Edge come out on Wednesday and talk up AEW. Why? Why is Adam Edge doing it? He's been there for like a fucking cup of coffee and a piece of pie. Why isn't your workhorse John Moxley there? You pulled him away from his vacation because you had to. You're telling me that Moxley couldn't be the one that had this conversation? You couldn't have even Twinkle Toes? Or is he still fucking pushing off that freaking vagina surgery that he's trying to not get? For crying out loud, you could even have Jericho. Maybe not Jericho. Okay, that's a bad idea. Because at this point right now, the only person in wrestling who lies more than Chris Jericho is Hulk Hogan. But you could have had anybody. You could have had a big name person out there. You send Adam Edge. I don't know.
Kurt Angle's up there.
Come on. No. Nobody lies more than Chris Jericho. I don't believe anything that comes out of Chris Jericho's mouth really at this point. Because he's getting a Hogan-esque area. Sorry. I'm not sorry. I still love Chris Jericho. He will forever be in my Rushmore, but I'm starting to not trust him. And ask Hulk Hogan what it's like to have me not trust you. You get booted from my Rushmore.
But outside of all the stuff the Punk said about AEW, he sounds genuinely happy to be back in WWE. It sounds like he actually has a good relationship with most people. I'm praying that I'm wrong because I said, hey, they have a lot of locker room leaders that could, put him in the line if he's, being too dickish. And I was like, I could see it lasting about a year before all of a sudden it goes from being this great thing to something that's crappy. But
the fact
during the interview, he did say overall the AEW experience was positive. He got to wrestle against Sting. He didn't ever expect that to happen, and he wrestled him in the Greensboro Coliseum. So
he said it was such an unthinkable moment for him that it wasn't even on his bucket list because he never thought it was possible to happen.
So it's cool that happened. And, Punk sounded more or less like going, yeah, they're stopping me from being on WrestleMania. Like, in my mind, they could tape me up, probably shoot him up with some, painkillers. And he's like, I could wrestle a match if I needed to. They're saving me from me. I need to have healthy CM Punk, maybe by Clash at the Castle. And maybe we have Drew McIntyre, and we'll get into that later. Drew McIntyre as the heavyweight champion, and we get CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre as the main event at Clash at the Castle.
Jay, I'm getting real weird with my predictions later. That's all I'm telling you right now. I'm getting real weird with my predictions.
Hey, Neil, I will let the Brainless One know what you said later. Anyway, back to all things wrestling. Tim, hello. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. Anybody who's new to the show, we are the Effin' Marks. I'm Jay. That is the Brainless One. And we talk about professional wrestling, and we kind of do it in an ADHD way. Sometimes we see a squirrel and we go down that squirrel hole. But anyway, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. We like this show being interactive. So put something in the comments and we will talk about it, and we will get back to you, whether or not it's immediate or, a few minutes down the line.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Where do you want to go to next, Brainless One?
I mean, dude, I guess we could get away because I think we've touched enough base on Punk, on Ariel Helwani. I did mention that the AEW stars did respond. Dax Hardwood went out there and just sounded like a very disgruntled and very upset ex-girlfriend who just got broken up by her boyfriend. The way that he was talking about Punk after the end of Dynamite, it's just crazy that now we see what these people really are.
And my hope would be that Punk would see something like that and realize, okay, these are my friends who have a job and they have to do certain things. I don't know if it's necessarily it feels like for FTR maybe towing the company line.
Well, it's just like I said, why are you having Edge go out there?
I mean, Edge was a WWE dude. So him coming out and talking about how great the locker room is and how much fun he's having and how it's one of the best locker rooms or the best locker room he's ever been in. Like you said, he's been there for a cup of coffee and a Danish bagel, whatever else. When Edge talks, it means a little bit more than, somebody like QT Marshall who had 4 NXT matches. It means slightly more. A lot. The Edge said it. And again, based off the Punk interview and just based off Punk's demeanor in general, he's admitted, I could be difficult to deal with. He mentioned several times, hey, Tony, you really need to deal with this. You really need to squash this. I'd like you to take care of this. And if you don't take care of it, I'm going to take care of it. And you're not going to like the way I take care of it.
I guess my biggest takeaways from all of this is that Tony Khan is, like I said, he's a nice guy. He's not a boss. This place is a clown show. You're a clown, and he quit. Like I said, he's out of his element. He shouldn't be doing this. Just because your dad has a shit ton of money doesn't mean that you should be booking for professional wrestling. You have no idea what you're doing. And to top it off, my favorite line was when he said, if your goal is to impress a goof so he gives you 5 stars and the arena's a quarter filled, we're not in the same business. He was brought in, like he said, to make money for the company, and that clearly wasn't what their objective was. They care about having these stupid bullshit matches, and that's all they care about. They just want to have fun with their friends on Tony Khan's dime, and Herb Abrams is going to do everything possible because they're the only friends Tony Khan has. Which, by the way, on top of it, I found out listening to Cornette's podcast, because they did mention the fact that, the Jaguars are, owned by Tony's dad as well. They did the survey of all the players in the NFL and talking about every organization in the NFL. And the Jaguars got D's and F's for how they treat their players, the facilities. They don't even have a family room. They said that the women who are pregnant are breastfeeding the kids in the middle of the bathroom, the public bathroom. This is just ineptness. You don't know what you're doing. And clearly, it just shows that your dad has no idea what the fuck he's doing either. Because if the Jaguars are just this as much dysfunctional as AEW is, it's a major problem. It's not a good look. And I keep thinking that, something stupid's going to happen where somebody's going to end up paralyzed in the ring or getting killed, or somebody's going to get hit with like a flying piece of glass, and there's going to be a giant lawsuit, and then Shad Khan's going to pull the plug. He ain't going to do shit. He brought in a player who got suspended for a year for betting on football. It's a dysfunctional family. And Tony Khan is coked out of his mind, so he has no idea what the fuck to do. Exactly. He is Herb Abrams. Tell me when I'm telling lies. Tony Khan is the reincarnation of Herb Abrams, and you can't tell me otherwise. I watched that documentary, Cousin Jay. You and I watched that Dark Side of the Ring together. We laughed our asses off. It was
Brian Blair had the line of
the whole series.
The best line, not only of that show, of the entire Dark Side of the Ring series.
Yep, well, absolutely.
He died doing coke and hookers.
Hookers and blow.
Hookers and blow. I think it's how he would have wanted to go.
By the way, season 5 has been very underrated. I've enjoyed the heck out of the entire series. But I will say this: I am more traumatized after the Buff Bagwell one than I was after the Marty Jannetty one. I did not need to know what Judy Bagwell used to do for her son to get him ready for.
Right. I would say season 5 so far for me it is not a return to glory, but season 3 and 4 definitely, like, they were good, but not great. I feel like season 5 here, they're concentrating on the stories of the individual performers more than like some mythical things that happened, whether it's the plane ride from hell or
Herb Abrams.
Well, the Herb Abrams episode was that. What would you say, the match on the WrestleMania card that you were not expecting to be a banger, and it ended up being the match of the night?
No, Jay, I thought that was going to be the episode that we were never going to talk about because it was going to be a top 3 shitty episode, and it was one of my 3 favorite episodes in 5 seasons. Nothing against Earthquake, nothing against a lot of others. In fact, I would even say it was 5 in my top 5. It might not be 4. It might be in my top 3 favorite episodes. It was that good. And I wasn't expecting it. I expected the Nick Gage one to be a fucking goddamn episode of America's Most Wanted. I'm not surprised by that. Herb Abrams, we now have a prettier picture. And if they do decide, and at any point they want to do a UWF movie, you still got Mick Foley around that I'm sure he could play himself, just not take any of the bumps, and just have Tony Khan play Herb Abrams. Because he is the long-lost, illegitimate son of Herb Abrams, and he really shouldn't be doing this shit.
And one thing I will slightly push back on you with. Tony Khan, I think, was a perfectly good, perfectly fine booker when he had one show and Cody Rhodes was there. AEW Dynamite at the beginning was really good. They tried to tell long-term stories, but once they started adding on extra shows, and Tony has been trying to take on all of this stuff without delegating, or if he delegates, like, you go from a weak manager to another weaker manager, and they screw up, and then the weak manager takes on more stuff. they were really good when it was one show and Tony and Cody was still there.
It was better when they weren't trying to bring in as many former WWE people as they possibly could. It was so much better when they weren't oversaturating the roster. When they were using the guys that they brought in on day one, the Darby Allins, the MJFs, the Sammy Guevaras, the Jungle Boys. Those were their four so-called pillars. And MJF, obviously, he's had the injury, or he's a free agent, or both, or all of the above, whatever. Yeah, he was.
Speaking of MJF, while you're talking about him, his ex painted, quite an incredible portrait of Cody Rhodes and The Rock.
Yep.
After The Rock had beat the holy heck out of him, and Cody bladed himself and was bleeding like Dusty.
Bringing his back his inner AEW.
Yeah. She painted quite the portrait. Rock commented on it and talked about how he wanted to buy it. And I thought it was fun and interesting that Maxwell Jacob Friedman chimed in. Brainless One, what do you have to say about all of that? Is this MJF messing with us? Like maybe he shows up in the next couple... tinfoil hat. Yeah, tinfoil hat.
That's all I'm going to say. That's all. I don't even have to say anything. That's all I'm going to do. Honestly, it's crazy. And nobody, and I mean nobody, in the wrestling industry knows how to troll the fans better than MJF, except maybe CM Punk. Nobody. And him doing this as his first response since he got injured in his match against Samoa Joe. His responses to The Rock, talking about, first you copied my beatdown of Cody with the belt. Now you're basically begging my ex for a portrait that you made. I'm a fan, Dewey, but please keep me out of this. I'm not saying anything right now. But the fact is that they have been flirting around a extra spot for something for WrestleMania this weekend, possibly night 2, since night 1's got 7 matches and night 2's got 6.
Something's happening.
Something's going to happen. I would not rule out seeing the former AEW World Champion, in fact, the greatest AEW World Champion, at WrestleMania at some point this weekend. More likely than not, night 2. It wouldn't surprise me if he showed up at all. But night 2 seems like that's the perfect spot. Because the beautiful thing about WrestleMania this year, especially with the main event, there is so many different avenues and tentacles that are flying from this thing. They could do just about anything and it would work. I have zero idea of how the outcome of the main event of night 2 is going to go. I really don't. Roman can walk out as champion. Wouldn't surprise me. Cody could walk out as champion. Wouldn't surprise me. Hell, Damian Priest somehow, some way walking out as champion. Wouldn't surprise me.
Right.
There's really nothing in this card that's going to surprise me. It's so wide open. And I was like, well, I'm thinking that, and of course I say this, but there was like 4 matches. I'm like, oh yeah, this is a lock.
Right.
I'm going to be like, oh, I thought about this one for a lock. Just wait until we get to the predictions.
All right. Chris Brown in chat said the Rock might want to bring that painting out on SmackDown tonight. Honestly, I think that would be a great troll job and be another thing that could add another layer to, again, if MJF somehow, some way ends up showing up at WrestleMania, like, you've already got several layers with The Rock and Cody and Roman and Seth. You add this layer, but then you add MJF that ends up being a thing. Like, MJF has a story with Cody. And he has now a bit of a story with The Rock. I'll I'll talk about this in predictions later about tinfoil hat theories and whether or not I think MJF will actually show up. But it's just an interesting caveat for what is already, again, as you said, a stacked WrestleMania card. The only bathroom break, it feels like, and I don't even think it's going to be a bad match, is Rey Mysterio with Dragon Lee versus Dominic and Santos. And it's just because they haven't built it up well.
I don't think even if they built it up well, it would have worked, because no matter what they did, poor Dragon Lee did not belong in this match. I'm sorry. And again, it's nothing against him as a performer. I'm happy that they have him. He's one of the guys that they actually got from AEW that flew under the radar. Former North American champion down in NXT.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it's a stacked card. And you didn't even mention the fact that in the main event, we could see we could see John Cena and Steve Austin. They teased it when The Rock was beating the shit out of Cody and he's whacking him with the belt, and you see the truck, the random truck that just so happens to have both John Cena and Steve Austin. A truck that wasn't even part of the rotation. It was planted there. And you can bring them both in and it would work. Because like I said, I think it was last week, John Cena's last match in WWE, he ate 137 Samoan spikes from Solo Sikoa in Saudi Arabia, and we haven't seen him in a match since. Boom. You got John Cena written into that. Stone Cold Steve Austin? Name me a bigger rival for The Rock. You can't think of The Rock being at WrestleMania without thinking of Stone Cold Steve Austin. They go hand in hand. They're like peanut butter and chocolate making a Reese's.
And quite honestly, number 2 on that would probably be Cena.
And you have the connection with Cena and The Rock. I'm telling you, Jay, that's the best part about this WrestleMania. I have no fucking clue what they're going to do on Sunday. None. The tag team match is almost a lock and guaranteed that The Rock and Roman are going to freaking win that thing, because we want to see Tribal Conquest. We want to see Cody have the odds against him, because we want to see Cody overcome this, because Homelander needs to bring the Universal Championship to the Rhodes family. This is Dusty's dream. This is Cody's dream.
Or nightmare.
And I wouldn't...
Smoke and mirrors.
I'm just telling you right now. In fact, I wouldn't even rule out and say that it's not even out of the realm of possibility that Goldust returns and helps his brother. It won't get the pop of the shattering glass like Austin's music hit. But if Goldust returned, are you kidding me? That gong, or his music goes, that place will go nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, if Gritty went out there and saved them, I mean, the place would go nuts. Him and the Fanatic.
Yeah.
And then we need to see Roman hit him.
As much as we've heard several times that Sylvester Stallone is not going to show up, if Rocky Balboa came out and saved Cody Rhodes, it might be the greatest thing ever.
Wrong. Because we all know that if Rocky Balboa goes out there to try to save Cody Rhodes, then we all know that Thunder Lips is going to make an appearance and he's going to suplex Sylvester Stallone in the ring, screaming "Lights out, meatball!" as Stallone hits the mat, tearing every ligament in Hogan's back. Not because it's a fictional story. It's because Hulk Hogan's in his 70s and taking a bump like that after slamming Andre the Giant 390 years ago, when Andre the Giant weighed 700 pounds and he tore all of his ligaments. So it's just going to re-injure his injury from the Andre slam.
Sure.
I want it. I want it all. Jay, you know me. I want chaos. Hogan showing up guarantees chaos. Because it's going to get called the Vet. Or he's going to call it freaking whatever they call the Phillies ballpark, whatever that shithole dump is in Philadelphia. He's going to call it the Hammerstein Ballroom. Yeah, Hulk. That's exactly what it is. This is a place that fits about 800 people as opposed to 80,000.
All right, Tim in the chat says he wants them to go Avengers Endgame with this match. Everyone who has been screwed over by the bloodline, Orton, LA Knight, yeah?
Yeah.
AJ Styles, John Cena, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Jay Uso, Seth Franklin Rollins, and then the glass breaks. And then we get the final boss going against the other final boss. Oh, by the way, The Rock on Twitter, X, posting the video game, which was very Double Dragon-esque.
I love
Cody like going and defeating all the smaller bosses, about to face Roman Reigns, and quite literally, The Rock did the Homelander laser eyes to Cody and Seth. He Homelandered them.
Don't fuck with the final boss. I'm done. I don't care, Jay. It's official. You can have your Christian Cage calling out all the dead fathers he wants. Nope. Sorry. He's not winning back-to-back Marquee Awards for the greatest heel. The Rock is winning it this year, and it's not even close. He brought out the video game and told him, don't fuck with the final boss. Are you kidding me? That was the greatest thing I've seen on the internet in 2024. I'm just saying it right now. As of right now, that video was the greatest thing I've seen on the internet in 2024. It was so good. So good.
So good.
So good. So good. Until I go and watch Braun Strowman, Gronk, Spike, James Ellsworth again.
Yeah.
My favorite video from 2016 is still my favorite video from 2016, 8 years later, 9 years. There we go. Easy there, Brainless One. Your Bristol Eastern showing. Sorry, go ahead.
So, I mean, before we get... we got a little bit away from AEW. One thing I want to say about this, I gave Tony Khan a lot of props for several years on this show where he said, if I sign a contract with somebody, that person will continue to work through that contract. I'm not going to release performers. That contract is my bond. And what happened on April Fool's Day this year?
He released 10 people.
Now, he gave what I would consider could be a legitimate reason for releasing 2 of them. He said the boys no-showed some shows. The boys have chimed in on X and said, really? Really? Like, we didn't show up? So I think it really could be interesting times. But for a man who prided himself for not releasing people, holding them through their contract, he released an awful lot of people. And part of me thinks, like, is he trying to cut salary? I have not seen this anywhere. This is me coming up with this. Is he cutting salary so he can, one, get the new deal for the TV rights and then sell the damn company for a profit? I'm just saying.
Who the fuck's going to want to buy that abortion? Are you kidding me? Here's a wrestling promotion.
A multi-million, 100 million, or if they make $1 billion deal, why not?
As long as WWE and TKO doesn't purchase it. Because if I actually have to watch Kenny and the Bucks wrestle at WrestleMania, I will fucking shoot myself. I will go Tommy Dreamer on myself. But yeah. I will not take out Paul Heyman beforehand. I do not, by any means, not once, not ever. I do not want to see the Bucks and Kenny at WrestleMania. Wait.
But what do you think about the idea of Tony is cutting salary to sell the company? Do you think that is legit, or am I being way too tinfoil hat?
Do you want to borrow it? I could let you borrow it. It may not make it. If I send a DHL, it's going to get damaged. If I send a UPS, it won't get there ever. The post office would have delivered it, but they don't like me anymore.
Yeah.
I lost my train of thought. I'm an idiot.
Well, I was just talking about, do you believe it's possible that the Khans are trying to
sell the company
salary so they could possibly sell the company after they've made like a big deal, whether it's with Warner Brothers or somebody else, for the AEW property?
No.
Is Tony Khan so thinly stretched that he's like, Daddy, it's time?
No, I really don't. I really don't think that's going to be the case. I think that he is having way too much fun booking his fantasy wrestling action figures in real life. I think that he is so coked out, and he has got the Bucks and Kenny and Hangnail Page and Steve Cutler or Brandon Cutler or Jay Cutler, whatever one of the Cutler boys he has shoved up his ass. I'm pretty sure that's where Jericho is definitely sniffing. I know that's where frickin' Dave Meltzer is. So, no, I really don't think he would ever sell this company, because this is a dream for Tony Khan. It wasn't to be whatever kind of position he holds for the Jacksonville Jaguars, whatever it is. It's not a good one, because he's not very good at anything, let alone running a football team or a soccer club or a wrestling promotion. No, I really don't think they're going to sell the company. I just think that he just realized that either A, you're not going to be able to do this unless you actually cut some people, or B, he bit off more than he could chew when it came to buying his new Mercedes, so he had to cut some salary so he could afford his new Mercedes that he doesn't even drive. He just lets it talk on television, which is what you don't bring in Sasha Banks to do, because whenever she opens her mouth, she's not that good. She is a great in-ring performer. That's all I'm going to say about Sasha Banks. I wouldn't have paid her nearly as much as she got paid by Tony Khan. The guy's a fucking moron. Why would you give her that? It's bad enough that it's like you guys are going to sit there and like, oh, I can't believe you can CM Punk all that money. You gave it to Sasha. She never drew a dime like CM Punk did. I don't care that she main evented WrestleMania. Does anybody even remember Sasha Banks main event of WrestleMania? I'm only bringing it up just because I know it, and anytime I could bring her up, fuck it. I don't want to deal with that bitch. And she does nothing for me. So my guess is that that's what it was. He needed to trim some salary. And it's like, you look at the names. Yeah, the boys served a purpose because they were part of the whole thing with Dalton Castle.
Yeah.
On Ring of Honor. You got rid of Parker Boudreaux. The next big thing is not really that big of a next thing, is he? He's got released by two of them. It's not going to go to Impact. Right. He ain't going to make an impact there. You gotta have the mindset to want to do this. You can't just be lackluster and just think it's just going to happen. You have to put forth the time and effort. And I keep thinking about how when Parker Boudreaux was brought in, who was brought in at the same time as Parker Boudreaux? Julius Creed, Braun Breaker, and Tony D'Angelo. Julius Creed is going to be a main eventer down the line for WWE. Braun Breaker is the future biggest star of the company. I don't care what anybody tells me. I've seen it. I've seen enough. That kid is the real deal. And Tony D'Angelo is a former NXT Tag Team Champion, has established himself as one of the most popular and successful performers down in NXT. His stable is something unlike what QT Marshall ever did in AEW. And oh, by the way, Tony D'Angelo's fighting for the NXT Championship. And what did Parker Boudreaux do? Oh, that's right. He got lassoed with the Harland gimmick, and he got stuck with Joe Gacy as they were part of the TISM or the Schism or whatever the hell it was called. Because whatever happens to that, you just don't want to be associated with Joe Gacy because you don't work in the company anymore, or you're so bad in the ring they make you the general manager. And what's Joe Gacy doing this weekend? Oh, Joe Gacy's fighting Shawn Spears. Shawn Spears has done more in the last month in NXT since he returned than he did in the last 2 years in AEW.
Yeah.
Jade Cargill was nothing more than an attraction that couldn't wrestle She gets the WWE. She hasn't wrestled more than just making an appearance in the Royal Rumble, and she's already a bigger deal. Lexis King is getting matches every week on NXT. He's getting matches at pay-per-views and takeovers for NXT. Dragon Lee's at WrestleMania. Cody Rhodes is wrestling in both main events of night 1 and night 2. CM Punk's going to be a part of WrestleMania in the broadcasting thing. He was supposed to fight Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. And what are the people from AEW doing? What are the fuck nuts doing, huh? What are they doing? The fucking California raisin looking ass motherfuckers. Can't fucking wrestle. That's the difference between WWE and AEW. WWE knows how to build a promotion, take care of the talent. They've had a 40-year at least head start on AEW. No matter what AEW does, they will never, ever, ever live up to what WWE has established itself as. If they had just listened to me, because nobody listened to me, if they had just listened to me 5 years ago, that's something caught in my throat. All right. If they had just listened to me 5 years ago, and I said it, if they want to be successful, they keep themselves as an alternative, not the competition. Because once you get sucked into the competition, every plan you had goes right out the window. It's like Mike Tyson says, everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face. Once Tony Khan made it where AEW was a suitable alternative and a competition and a viable competition for WWE, it all went down the toilet. So no, I really don't think that the Khans will ever sell AEW. I think that Tony Khan's going to want to do it because he gets too much of a hard-on booking his real-life action figures. Just so every 3 to 4 months, we get the random Rey Fenix versus Jon Moxley match with no build to it for some kind of stupid championship that nobody gives a fuck about. Oh, and by the way, just in case anybody was wondering whether or not there was a possibility that I would actually become a fan of AEW again, guess what Tony Khan did on Wednesday, Cousin Jay?
He did something that once again made you say, not no way, not no how, not no ever.
It was bad enough that they booked Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta in a tag team to go up against the fuckheads who we already know is going to win the stupid tournament because they're going to end up winning the stupid tag team titles because they just want to keep giving me all these ideas to never watch it. But at the end of the match, when they went to go do their hug and Trent Beretta freaking decked Orange Cassidy, I told them not to do it. Again, Tony Khan doesn't listen to me. AEW doesn't listen to me. So clearly they don't want me as a fan. Because if they wanted me as a fan, they wouldn't do this stupid bullshit that they do. Where they have Orange Cassidy get turned on by Trent Beretta. The only faction in AEW I actually liked was the Best Friends. And they just ruined it for me.
Sad.
So, again, there's nothing they could do. No matter what they do, no matter what they say, no matter how hard they try, AEW will never, ever have me as a fan again.
Okay.
Mark my words. This is April 5th, 2024.
Hey, mark my words.
I see what I did there.
Eh.
I will not be a fan of AEW ever again. I will make one exception to the rule. Danhausen needs to win the AEW World Championship.
So, of the 10 names released, there was one name specifically on the list that I'm guessing maybe you would take exception to. Why did they release this man? They released him before and or he didn't re-sign with them. Your boy, Stu Grayson.
I don't know what Tony Khan's deal is with Stu Grayson. I hate the fact that not only that, but Anthony Henry, who was part of the Workhorsemen with JD something or other, it wasn't Funko Head, that's all I know. They were part of the Workhorsemen. Dude gets hurt, has like a shattered skull or something like that, something in his head that he got an injury for. And he releases him. Takes money out of his pocket. Takes food off of the table that he could give his kids. Guy's injured. He can't do shit. So you fire him. And then you have the audacity to come out there and say, well, when Anthony Henry's, healthy again, we're thinking about bringing him back.
Sad. I know part of the Make America Brainless Again campaign includes professional wrestling and making sure professional wrestlers, while they're injured, need to be taken care of.
You're the son of a multi-billionaire, a man who invented something that some kind of bumper or seatbelt or whatever it was for the car or whatever. You are one of only 32 people, one of the 32 ownership groups of a prestigious league where any person in this country and outside of this country would kill to own a professional football team. And you don't know how to handle that. You let a 24-year-old wide receiver go away because you didn't want to give him the money that he wanted. However, you'll give it to a 29-year-old who has a gambling problem.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, you gave it to Gabriel Davis. You gave it to Gabe Davis, who's you know this because you're a Patriots fan. Gabe Davis will show up one week and catch 12 balls for 185 yards and 3 touchdowns, and then the following week he'll have one catch for 3 yards and nothing.
Right.
Or he doesn't come out of the thing. You can't be treating people like this. You're going to release somebody and they're hurt. You got this personal vendetta against Stu Grayson. You let his contract go. You let him leave for a year, and then you bring him back. And not only do you not put him in the Dark Order, you put him with Vincent and Dutch and whoever else is in their fucking stable. God only knows what that is. You released Dasha Currett. So that's another one from WWE you got rid of?
Yeah.
What was the other one? Gravity? I was like, what the fuck is Gravity? Was this their freaking knockoff or Axiom, what they did with A-Kid or whatever the hell the kid's name was from NXT UK, who's now wearing a mask and teaming up with Seth Rollins' protege, Nathan Frazier, who I like. He's a lot of fun to watch. Nathan Frazier is my favorite wrestler.
So we have on the list the boys, Dasha Gonzalez, Jose the assistant, Jorah. I can't even read my own writing. Terrible.
That's all right, Jay. I've had a hard time for a very long time. I have 2 brainless notebooks that I can't read shit out of.
Anthony Henry, Gravity, Stu Grayson, Parker Boudreaux, and Slim J.
Man, I felt so bad for Slim J, too. And he was like, I had this great thing, and I was doing what I love doing. He goes, and now I can't do it anymore, and I'm out of a job, and it sucks. I was like, well, to your, that's what happens when you get put in a stable called the Truth Busters, and you're paired with Parker Boudreaux and one of the Davari brothers.
Now, to be fair, this could be turned into a positive if he ends up with R-Truth in WWE.
Cousin Jay, I saw the only other person that I would actually put with R-Truth in WWE on the dark side of the ring.
You could put anybody with R-Truth, and it will work.
I told everybody, I said if they were going to bring in a third person to replace Big E and the freaking New Day, it's R-Truth. He won tag team titles with both of them. You could literally, that's the best part about R-Truth. That's why I love R-Truth. You could literally put R-Truth in anybody, any story. He's like Randy Orton. You could put R-Truth with anybody, anywhere, at any time, and it would work. I would love to see R-Truth have something with Gunther. The most serious wrestler in the history of wrestling and the most probably the most entertaining, funny. The man is a treasure.
I mean, to be fair, it would be like putting R-Truth with Brock Lesnar, and Brock Lesnar loved working with R-Truth. So, like, it's like Brock Lesnar could call his shot. And he said, I want to work with that dude. And Brock Lesnar got broken by R-Truth.
When he said, I know you're a big man, but I'm certain I could throw you over the top rope. Paul Heyman, I die every time. I go back and watch it just because shit like that entertains me. Like I've said before, I want to be entertained. I don't need 7 Canadian destroyers in a row that have a guy kick out at 2 to be entertained. Anything Ricochet does, I could watch and I'd be entertained. That CLC match from WrestleMania 17 is still one of my favorite matches. I love that match. Sheamus and Gunther from Clash of the Castle. But on the flip side, I love shit like Sami Zayn and Johnny Knoxville from a couple of years ago.
Knoxville. Yeah.
I love when they do those stupid, gimmicky Miracle on 34th Street Christmas-themed street fights. I love stupid shit like that.
The Philly street fight that will happen at WrestleMania, probably night 2.
You poor bastard. You better hope it's on night 2 because nobody wants to see Killer Cross at WrestleMania.
I want to see, in the worst way, Mick Foley versus Santa Claus in a Philly street fight on WrestleMania night 2. It would be perfect. Mick Foley is Mr. Santa Claus, Mr. Christmas, not Lloyd Christmas, Mr. Christmas, and him going against Santa Claus, or if they prefer, he could go against Santa Claus and make sure that there are enough people in Philadelphia loaded up with snowballs to throw Santa Claus to help out Mick Foley so he can have his last match in WWE, a death match against Santa Claus.
Or Gritty.
I'm just saying. Just saying.
Jay, the only problem with that is like if Mick Foley dressed up like Santa Claus and the Philadelphia fans started hucking snowballs at Mick Foley, you and I both know I'm going to get an AK-47 and it's not going to end very well for Philadelphians. I will be coming home with Pat's Cheesesteaks, the restaurant, and the back of my Rogue.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to need to be in Philadelphia anymore because there's not going to be anybody left. It's just going to be just a mess. And they're going to be like, why did you do it? It's Philadelphia. They threw snowballs at Mick Foley. How do you throw snowballs at Mick Foley? I can understand like throwing him at Austin Theory. You might actually hit him in the face and it might improve something. I can understand throwing one at freaking Roman Reigns because he's a heel. You got to throw him at a heel. And hell, if they somehow get the dastardly Voldemort out there and they started hucking snowballs at him, go for it. Throw one for me. But if you start pelting Mick Foley, one of the greatest human beings on planet Earth, there's a problem with you. And most importantly, you're going to have a problem with me. In Philadelphia, at the end of the day, there really isn't too many cities out there that I like less than you, if any. For a city that I've never spent more than half a second in, I don't have a positive thing to say about Philadelphia. Just remember, they had the Freedom Robot that went around the world and made it through every single country, no problem. But as soon as it got to the United States, that Freedom Robot, the one that's supposed to bring peace, got its ass kicked in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, people think that I'm just coming up with these crazy theories because I'm brainless. I've seen it.
I've got a theory.
This guy's brainless. But it's just... There's so much that they could do this weekend for WrestleMania. Having Mick Foley come out as Santa Claus would, I mean, honestly, that really wouldn't surprise me. If Mick Foley came out, it wouldn't surprise me. Really wouldn't. I'd love to see Foley.
Quite honestly, with the Hall of Fame tonight, I understand why they have Roman Reigns with his wet hair inducting Paul Heyman because he's more of a attraction to the modern fans. I would have preferred Foley or CM Punk to induct Heyman into the Hall of Fame this weekend, but I certainly get where they're coming from.
I would have loved to have seen all the Paul Heyman guys like take turns inducting him. CM Punk, Brock Lesnar. Oh, come on, who wouldn't want to hear a Brock Lesnar induction speech for Paul Heyman? And I'm pretty sure if Brock Lesnar was not exiled from WWE, although we'll talk about that in a little bit too.
Semi-exiled.
He'll be back. He'll be back this weekend.
Yeah.
I'm the babe, and I'm calling my shot. We'll see Brock Lesnar this weekend. Yeah. Calling it. Yeah.
All right. Dalameda in the YouTube chat says, "Hey guys, what time does it start? WrestleMania starts at 7 p.m. tomorrow, but the pre-show will start at 5 p.m. 5 p.m.
Why do you need two-hour pre-shows back to back? That's all
I don't know, brother.
I just if CM Punk and Big E are going to be there like they did for the thing for the press conference for WrestleMania where they were in Vegas and all that stuff, yeah, I'd be on board with that because I could listen to Big E and CM Punk talk about anything for 2 hours. As much as I love Booker T, I don't need to see Booker T more baked than I'm going to be tomorrow as he's trying to figure out and make predictions for the show.
More baked than a yeah.
Nobody's going to, I mean, I don't know. I think Booker T might be more baked than I am tomorrow. But as much as I love Booker T, I don't need to see that. I don't need to see JBL. I don't need to see Rosenberg or Sam, whatever the other guy's name is. I don't need to see those guys.
Sam Roberts.
Give me
Peter Rosenberg.
Yes. I just give me what I want. Just give me the people I want to see. I want to see Big E. I love seeing Big E.
What you really want?
I mean, seriously, tell me what I want or what I really want. I want Big E and CM Punk on the pre-show. Give me Pat McAfee. That's what I want.
Go.
Honestly, if you give me Pat McAfee for both 2-hour pre-shows, I'd probably be happy anyway.
All right. Very important question, Brainless One. More baked. Booker T, Tony Khan.
I'm going to say Booker T because Booker is definitely smoking the ganja. Tony Khan is not baked. He is coked out of his mind. It's a big difference coming from somebody who, surprised, I've never done coke, so I wouldn't know exactly, but as somebody who has partaken in the consumption of quasi-legal, used to be illegal substances.
Legal in Virginia, baby.
Legal in a lot of states, even in Danoland.
Baby.
But
wait.
No, Booker T is definitely more baked. Pat McAfee has definitely been more baked. Than a baked potato. And Tony Khan's just coked out of his mind. Big difference.
All right, ADHDing this whole thing.
Too late.
2004. UConn men and women win the national championships. 2014. UConn men and women win the national championships. 2024. What do you say, Brainless One?
Caitlin Clark in Iowa are going to absolutely manhandle the UConn women tonight. When I found out that Caitlin Clark's dream school was UConn, and then Gino Auriemma didn't even have the decency to even talk to her, let alone recruit her, and she's doing these great things in college basketball. She's going to go off for 50, 20 rebounds, and 14 assists. They're going to shit all over UConn tonight. And I can't believe I'm saying that. Nobody's stopping the buzzsaw on the men's side. Sorry. Not sorry.
Thanks to Bristol Central's own Donovan Clingan.
Let's be serious. It's because you were right about Dan Hurley, and I let my hatred for him and his brother and his family and their Duke affiliation affect how I felt about them.
Hey.
Jay, I'm telling you right now.
Duke deserves the hate that they get.
Of course they do. It's Duke. It's the Duke, Yankee, Laker, Cowboy,
Dan
Eagle.
Hurley does not deserve that. He was never a part of Duke.
I understand, but you're guilty by association. I hate people in Nick and Matt Jackson's family, and they're not even in professional wrestling.
Yeah.
So how is that any different? I hate everybody in Shane Battier's family. I don't think any of them played in the NBA.
Yeah.
Shane Battier was the only player in Duke history I hated more than anybody else. I hated Shane Battier.
Wait. How can you hate Battier more than Christian Laettner?
Because I don't know what it is. Christian Laettner, I'm not a Kentucky fan. Yes, he did do good things to UConn.
Christian Laettner, like to me, Christian Laettner is the Ted Cruz of Duke basketball.
Oh, trust me.
The most punchable face in all of Duke history. The fact that Christian Laettner prevented UConn from getting to their first Final Four by being Christian Laettner.
Jay, when Christian Laettner was drafted out of college for Duke, I was a Bulls fan, and I said, it doesn't matter. I got Michael Jordan. They can have the shittiest players in the NBA. We're still going to win NBA titles because it's Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant and Bill Cartwright and Steve Kerr or Tony Kukoc or Dennis Rodman. You name it. That was the best part about being a Bulls fan back in the day. However, I jumped that ship, and I went to the Orlando Magic, and if they had drafted...
Because of Horace Grant?
Because of Shaq, but, yes, I did like Horace Grant.
Penny Hardaway?
Please. Please don't. Please don't. But I never liked Christian.
I love seeing you kiss him about Penny.
Listen, I never liked Christian Laettner, and yes, you are absolutely right. He has a very punchable face. However, when Shane Battier was at Duke, there was not a player I hated on Duke more than Shane Battier when he was there. I don't know what it's his face. He's just got like a gnarly piece of shit. I like stick my finger.
I think I'm better than you face.
He's just like, I'm just this punk ass thing. What are you going to do about it? Fuck you type of thing. Fuck you, Battier. Oh, I hated him. I'll admit it. As somebody who has hated Duke, as long as I've hated Duke, I hate, there's not a player I hate more than Shane Battier. And I loved Lou Aldeng when he played there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah.
We got a sneak attack. It's a third person.
Fuck off. He's interfering in the match.
Yeah.
What's up, boys?
What's up, F.M. Marks Hall of Famer El Jefe?
Not much. Just arriving the podcast an hour after I told Jay I would, but
well,
that's because I had a dog to walk.
You're fine.
After the blessing of the Almighty Saint Augustine Pradle.
Yay! He's alive. He's there. He's born. We're very excited for our friends. Their dog, she insisted on going on a long walk. She would not let me take her back in the house. So,
yeah.
Jeff, I'll admit, as somebody who is a dog owner, and my dog does have a tendency of taking her sweet ass time to get in the house, so I understand.
Yeah.
So it's perfectly acceptable. It is fine. It is
right.
fine. El Jefe, it is fine.
Right.
Fine. Yeah.
So I figured since we are talking about WrestleMania 40, that we bring back an old legend. We bring back an old friend to the podcast.
Oh.
You know, El Jefe, at the local 7-Eleven, they did not have the Colt 45. I had to go with the Bud Ice.
Hey, you know what, man? That's fine. Hey, 7-Eleven off beer today and tomorrow. Off 12 packs.
Nice.
I know the Brainless One don't do that no more, but
I wish I could say I missed it, but I don't miss it as much. However, I do miss it more than I miss smoking cigarettes. So there's a positive there.
Yeah, that's a positive.
And I was
El Jefe, I appreciate the fact that you got all your Browns memorabilia in the background. And I think some of the things that we're going to talk about tonight will lead to what is happening in land this summer.
I know, SummerSlam in Cleveland, man. I might have to make a trip home, special trip home for that one.
You are going to go from seeing the greatest band of all time.
Oh my God.
In 1 week to, like, perhaps the next week going to the greatest SummerSlam of all time. And I think it would be, even though they're not from the area, very fitting if that band shows up and performs.
Well, they should. I mean, they have one of the most classic wrestling songs of all time, in My Sacrifice, to the point where JR was like, I can't believe they're playing Creed for the third fucking time. I mean, they are. Yeah. So, like, remember, like, back then, there were two bands. There were really three bands that played on WWE programming, WWF programming at the time. It was, well, four bands. Motorhead, obviously, for Hunter.
Yep.
Then there was Limp Bizkit for The Undertaker. What?
I love that he couldn't remember the 4 words that he had to remember.
Yeah.
It's all about the game and how you game it. No, I mean, that's not how it goes.
Sound like Muscle Man. Then there was Limp Bizkit for The Undertaker. Rolling. Then there was Drowning Pool. Drowning Pool had quite a few pay-per-view songs before the singer died. And then Creed. I mean, they were all over WWF programming, WWE programming for a good, like, 3 solid years. We heard a lot of butt rock. Puddle of Mud was on there too. So,
and then later on, we got a lot of Nickelback.
Oh God,
we got a lot of Nickelback. We got Nickelback every week for a long time.
Oh, Jesus. We had Papa Roach too.
Oh, Papa Roach, like, yeah, all that butt rock, man.
And honestly,
and everyone's like, why do you like butt rock? Well, I watched wrestling growing up.
How do you know what saliva is? I'm a wrestling fan. What do you expect? It's bad enough.
You know what? The greatest saliva thing that ever happened was Josie from Saliva with Chad Kroger for Spider-Man. I hum so high, I can see heaven.
Yeah. Because that was for the Spider-Man movie, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That was either for Spider-Man or Spider-Man 2.
One of them.
They did a duet. It still plays on the Butt Rock station on Sirius XM.
I'm surprised it was not. I'm surprised it was not when we were at Jack Brown's there in Harrisonburg.
Oh my God, dude! Speaking of Jack Brown's, you got to come out for trivia when Doug hosts.
Yes.
I won this week. It was great. I won by myself.
How?
I
don't know.
Good.
And my team name was Doug Sucks. No, it's funny because he actually helped me out with work today. So
yeah,
that's good shit.
Good shit, pal.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. So one thing we did mention a little bit earlier that does happen before SummerSlam. We found out that Clash at the Castle 2, 11 away from Clash 13.
Celebration
is happening in June in Glasgow, Scotland.
Which castle are they clashing at?
I believe it is, what was it, Falkirk? It's going to be the land where William Wallace spilled a lot of blood, and Robert the Bruce tried to betray him, but in the end, Robert the Bruce figured like, oh wait, William Wallace could have slashed my throat, and he didn't. And eventually, he was like, you know what? Let's let Scotland be its own thing. I'm looking forward to Clash at the Castle. We're going to end up having Drew McIntyre go against King Charles and Prince William. And it's going to be for the Kingdom of England.
Now, I keep forgetting.
I believe Drew McIntyre is not only going to win the match, he's going to take out Angela. And he's going to go full Highlander on both their asses.
I keep forgetting. Is William the one that looks like Carson Wentz?
No,
that's Prince Harry.
Oh, that's Harry. Okay.
Yeah.
That's one bad hat, Harry.
Yeah, Prince William's the one who's got the bad hairline.
Oh, he's the one that looks like his dad.
Yeah. Like he has all the bad traits that his dad has.
And then the other one just looks like Carson Wentz. Oh man.
The Bear.
The new backup quarterback of the Chiefs.
Anyway, what do you all have to say about the fact that we are getting a second Clash at the Castle after Drew McIntyre got screwed out of winning the championship from Roman Reigns, the man with the wettest hair, when they could have, at that moment,
split the titles.
Just had him go for the WWE championship instead of the combined Universal WWE Championship. You could have continued to have Roman Reigns with his wet hair continue this title reign without actually losing, the championship to possibly overcome the immortal Hulk Hogan as far as longest reigning championship. Because if we're being truthful about this reign of Roman Reigns, he's held the Universal title for 3.5 years. He has not held the WWE Championship. If he was going to truly pass out Hulk Hogan, brother, he would have to have the WWE Championship for another 2 years.
Yeah.
Brother.
Yeah. And that's why I think
they could have separated it at the initial Clash at the Castle, but now what do you think? Is Drew McIntyre winning the championship in night 2? And is this going to be a championship match? I mean, there are things out there saying Drew McIntyre has not necessarily signed an extension, but yet they have him on a poster for a show that is well beyond what his contract allegedly is.
When is this?
June 15th.
Okay, so there's still a lot of time before this. It's a couple months.
Yeah.
So, I mean, anything can happen with the booking with that. And if they're promoting him, I assume he's signed on for at least that show. Because, they've done that in the past where they have a guy to have extend their contract to a certain point and then end it. But I don't see a reason why he'd be leaving at this point. So unless he wants to retire or something, I don't think he's going to go to AEW. I don't think anybody wants to do that at this point. But I mean, yeah.
I'm not arguing that one. Arguing that one.
I mean, let's be serious about that. I mean,
Edge is the last
you're
man
hearing
who
about what
wanted to sign there.
Weekend. You're hearing about what Cody was saying about them this weekend and all that jazz. And it's just become like a retirement home for guys that WWE won't clear anymore, and younger guys who are working their way up. And it's a good stepping stone for some people, but it's good that it exists because it makes WWE better. Yeah. And I think AEW will get better at some point. It has to.
No.
But I mean, it's not going to be TNA 2.0. It just can't be. I mean, not with the big contracts that they're having. And they're probably going to get re-signed by Warner. So they're going to be on TV and get a good spot for a while. So But yeah, I don't see Drew McIntyre leaving. I just unless he's taking a break, I just don't see that.
I know
he's had a great run in his second run here with WWE. So
this is the best Drew McIntyre we've ever gotten.
Oh, easily. And his social. I mean, how about WWE is all about social media engagement. He's the best on social media by a mile for them. He's really used it to his advantage. And honestly, it's nice to have these guys not have their balls chopped off by a certain old man anymore, because like they're really letting their characters develop by themselves. Obviously, they have guidance from the producers. They have guidance from Triple H. There's certain things they want to see. But now it's like, I mean, you go on Twitter, you see Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch having a fucking fight over like Becky's kid and shit. You see, Drew McIntyre and CM Punk fucking Twitter feuding. It's great. I mean, it adds to the story. It adds to the show.
It's kind of like what you were saying earlier, Jay, with the whole LA Knight and AJ Styles build.
Yeah.
Where they've been using social media exclusively to kind of help build this up. Yes, they've had interactions backstage on SmackDown and, him showing up in Elimination Chamber, but that is how they've been booking their whole feud. They've done a better job of booking that than they did for Bayley and Io Sky right now. And it's a shame because Bayley deserves to have the spotlight on her, but she's being overlooked because of the fact that the storyline with the bloodline has kind of overtaken WrestleMania 40, and it's like, all right, you got The Rock too.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I with the Clash of the Castle,
There we go.
with everything with Drew, I think is this the next pay-per-view? Do we get a WrestleMania Backlash again this year, like we've gotten the last couple of years, or is Clash at the Castle the next one to be on the schedule for paper or premium live events, because that's going to play a big thing. Because I don't even think Drew's walking out as the world heavyweight champion. Like I said, I'm going to get real weird with my predictions tonight.
Yeah.
I looked at the standings. I had the standings written out for what our picks were for the predictions. I'm a country mile behind from everybody.
Yes.
You all are Secretariat in the freaking 72 Belmont, and I'm the horse that finished dead last. But with Drew, I would love nothing more for him to go to Europe for the second Clash of the Castle as the champion, or win the championship in front of kind of his home, because it's Scotland now. So this is a home game for him.
Are they relaunching WWE UK at all, or is that just dead?
It may. They're not doing WWE UK. They're doing WWE Europe at some point.
Okay.
It'll be interesting because I know not Tony Khan. I'm sorry. The competent member of his family, Nick Khan, said that it's kind of hit onto the back burner and it's something they might discuss in like a year or two. But I don't think it's completely dead. But as of right now, it's not even considered. I wouldn't be surprised if part of the reason it went to ended up in bed because Will Ospreay signed with AEW. Because I know that they were thinking about having him as the focal point of NXT Europe. So, and I know that the big thing with him was that he wanted to spend as much time in the UK as he does in the States, and that's what AEW can bring, as opposed to the very, very rigorous schedule that WWE does. Although it's calmed down drastically.
Yeah, they don't do as many house shows anymore. They're
It's smart in my view.
It is very smart. You know what? Like you see, like these guys, like probably a big reason these dudes had scrambled brains from when we were growing up is because they were wrestling 300 days a year, and they're taking chair shots to the head and like really beating the shit out of each other. And it's like, no wonder Mick Foley can barely function. No wonder, like, I shouldn't say that about Mick Foley. He's actually still pretty there for as bad as he's been through. But like certain guys, like Lex Luger can't even walk, pretty much.
Right.
Like it's, and there are a lot of guys we saw growing up who are either dead, if they're not dead, or not in really good shape for the most part. So it's like, when you see guys like Jake Roberts walking out on TV, it's actually pretty cool to see that he's actually lived this long and, he's still okay.
DDP.
Well, DDP DDP saved a lot of these guys, thankfully.
Well, that's the reason why we get to see Jake the Snake is because Diamond Dallas Page, helped him. I can't say enough good things about DDP. He should go into the Hall of Fame again.
But it's good that the schedule is just completely, they've dialed it back a lot. And honestly, like, there's a lot of wrestlers who just do, like, there's so many stars now in WWE, like actual honest to God stars, that not all of them do house shows anymore. So, I mean, house shows are really just for, like, we had this whole thing a few weeks ago with what's her name, Maxine Dupree, and was booing her at the house show, and it's just like, first of all, well, if I'm going to a wrestling show and you suck, I'm sorry, but secondly, but it's like that's what those are really for now. It's almost kind of like NXT's like their minor league, but is it really anymore? I mean, it is, but it isn't. Like the house shows really are for people. They're I mean, obviously you get some stars at house shows, don't get me wrong, but it's more for the people who need more ring time, essentially.
I agree.
Right. Yeah,
and that was always one of the things that I did enjoy as a kid growing up, going to house shows, is that when WWE was doing the thing, they were having multiple tours, like one group would go one way,
A and B, and sometimes C town.
And when I was
by the way, Bristol was the C town when I got to see the One Man Gang versus WWE Hall of Famer Coco Beware in the main event. Also got to see WWE Hall of Famer The Ultimate Warrior performance, the Dingo Warrior, August 10th of 1987.
I once saw Hulk Hogan wrestle Earthquake in the main event at the Hartford Civic Center for my first house show. After we don't talk about the Survivor Series from 1990, and. And my dad asked me, he goes, you have a choice. It's either going to be Hulk Hogan or the Ultimate Warrior. You're not going to get both. Because at the time, one was doing one show and the other one was doing the other one. I said, I want Hogan.
So, I mean, I think you made the right choice. Ultimate Warrior sucks, but I mean, they both suck, but one sucked a lot worse. Well, actually, I didn't actually go to a show until I was a WWE show anyway, until I was in my 20s. I was 23.
Wow.
At the time, it was a house show in Erie, PA, at the Erie Insurance Arena. When
you were in college.
Goldust and Stardust wrestled each other. I thought that was interesting. And and then it was Cody. It was Daniel Bryan against Kane in the main event.
Team Hell No.
I know. And that was actually good. I want to say it was a no DQ match. I'm trying to remember. We were in the last row of the fucking arena. But maybe Joe remembers it, but because he was with me. But
oh boy, what a beer!
Yeah, that was before we discovered that too. But then and then I came to one here. The second one I ever went to was here. It was at Hampton Coliseum, and it was John Cena versus Kevin Owens in the main event. And I thought there was actually a point in the match where the ref threw up the X for John Cena, and we thought he was seriously hurt. And he actually did get dropped on his head. He was okay, but I remember that was like a whole thing, and I know like a lot of outlets like reported on it and stuff that Cena may have been hurt during the house show. He was okay, but that was right after that SummerSlam that year where I want to say that was a SummerSlam where that may have been the next year where he got all the German suplexes.
Oh, for Brock?
Yeah. But it was still a fun show. I mean, Hampton Coliseum's a complete dump, but like it's our dump.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with the spaceship.
There really is nothing wrong with the spaceship. I actually like going to the spaceship.
Just the area around the spaceship.
Yeah. I mean, the nicest arena we do have is ODU's arena.
The Chartway Arena?
Chartway Arena, Johnson Center. Like, the scope. But, yeah.
I enjoy the scope for what it is.
Same.
The best wrestling shows I see are at the Johnson Center. I love the NXT show we went to. And then
that was so great.
Collision we went to, Jay.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, good seats. Can't really complain about any part of the venue. I mean, but then I've been to wrestling shows where it's 100 people in a fucking bingo hall,
I mean, Brainless One and I,
because I was in college.
Brainless One and I went to a show in a storage shed with a ring announcer that smelled like vomit.
And it was at the same wrestling promotion that we got Uncle Phil and his tag team partner, the other Black Russian, cut a promo on me. As Jay and I were trying to escape there like we were Andy Dufresne in the Shawshank Redemption.
Dude.
We crawled through 400 yards of shit to get to my car, to get to the beer garden, to have a beer.
Do they still run? I don't even think they still run anymore.
No, they're done.
Well, I think we should go to a VCW show.
I'd be on board with that.
Down for that. The promoter is my friend on Facebook now.
I will say this. I will not refer to them as Trash Bag Championship Wrestling. I promise you I will not refer to them as that.
No, they get some guys. They get some guys for sure.
Of course, they had Daddy Ass as world champion while we were down here. Since I've been down here.
Yeah, champion. They've gotten some guys before. I mean, there's always like a big star that shows up once in a while.
Yeah.
Someone who's straddling the indie scene. Maybe they can book Matt Cardona or something. I don't know.
Right.
But
Paul London.
All right. Chris Brown in the chat did say we are getting Backlash in May.
Okay.
So after we get WrestleMania, we got Backlash.
Is it WrestleMania Backlash or just Backlash?
Probably WrestleMania Backlash.
I hope it's just called fucking Backlash. That's way cooler than WrestleMania Backlash.
When are they going to bring back Great Balls of Fire?
Great Balls of Fire. Well, they need to bring back King of the Ring.
Yep.
That would be cool. But Money in the Bank replaced it. It's a good replacement, honestly. I can't even complain too much about it.
That's one of my favorite pay-per-views now.
I mean, Money in the Bank, it's a chance to change everything, honestly. It's a chance to make a new star every time. And that's the only pay-per-view that's like a gimmick pay-per-view that I really like. You know what I mean? Because, like, it used to be like, we'll do the feud blow-off in Hell in a Cell, pal.
Yeah.
But now we know when it's going to be. And it's just like, it doesn't hit for me in the same way. Now, again, Elimination Chamber this year was pretty good. And I think they figured out that they need to do it in a big fucking stadium because that was awesome.
Yeah.
Triple H taking over the reins of creative has been the biggest positive in regards to WWE.
Well, yeah.
And another ginormous positive. We no longer get cutaways in the middle of a freaking move. We got to see Ricochet do more than a 540 from a camera angle that we have not seen on TV because they did not hire some Kevin Dunn stooge to take over for video production, live video production on WWE. They hired a sports dude who said, hey, maybe we should do something different. Maybe we shouldn't have the camera tilt up and down and zoom in and out at every freaking moment to give somebody an absolute epileptic seizure while they're in the middle of, smoking some weed because they got to do it because they're on medical marijuana and they can't have a seizure. Like, I'm happy to see that. I'm happy to see that in the middle of a incredible move that we don't cut away.
Are you talking about him in his match with JD Funko Head from Monday?
Yes.
You mean the one where he actually hit JD McDonough with a Canadian Destroyer and it almost killed him?
Yeah.
Like he actually sold the Canadian Destroyer, which is what you're supposed to do after you get hit with one, not kick out at two after you get hit with 7 of them in a row.
Dude.
From a blow-up doll?
From a fuck doll?
So the funny thing is, like, Jay, like, I saw this because the last show I did watch was Elimination Chamber. I watched a couple SmackDowns when Dwayne was on, in the build-up to this. But
the final boss, who ended up homelandering Cody Rhodes.
Homelander versus the final boss. So he's like Billy Butcher. So
yes.
But I watched I noticed it big time during Elimination Chamber. I'm like, this isn't making me sick. Like, this is watchable now. Like, I could palate this. Like, that big reason I stopped watching every week was because the camera work was just so bad that I had to look away from the TV. And it's just like, okay, well, you know what? They do such a good job with social media anyway. I can just follow along on social media. I don't need to watch it. I don't need to be watching this shit, especially if it's driving me fucking nuts. As a TV producer, it offended me greatly that just how bad the camera work was.
Yes.
Like It just looked awful. I'm like, how is this? I couldn't believe that was acceptable for major, not just cable television, but network television. That's ridiculous. And the fact Kevin Dunn is gone, he's a figment of the past, and we'll never have to see him again. Hopefully he never has to, and hopefully he doesn't go to AEW or NWA or wherever the fuck.
Mark out moment of the year.
Like I was about to mention.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, that's going to be like, that probably will be the mark out moment of the year. That motherfucker getting fired, because like it's just, when he get fired, he just let go.
He won that. He won that second quickest to Roman Reigns winning his award, unless he shaves his head.
Yes.
And I think he's still greasy. So, I mean, he's probably oiling up the head and shit. But
yeah, but it's not very wet, though, once it's gone. He doesn't have wet hair if it's not there.
Yeah. But just everything, it's incredible that as soon as the old man stenches off everything, and as soon as he's not touching shit anymore, WWE is hotter than it has been in probably 15 years.
One of the things that I've noticed as part of the production, that it's a shot that I was like, holy shit, this actually, I love this shot, was they were coming back from a commercial break on Raw. And I've talked about this for many years on the podcast. Jay can definitely, confirm this, about how awful it was watching Raw for those 3 hours, the early years of this podcast, where we had to subject ourselves. And it was just easier for us to just go back and watch it when there's no commercials. And it's like, we're not trying to subject ourselves to 11 hour, 3 hours of this garbage. Wow.
Yes, it felt like that.
Raw was an hour and a half, and you cut out the bullshit matches usually, so I never got to see like Dana Brooke or anyone like that. But like,
land.
Hey, that's your former
to my
classmate.
fellow Holy Name alum, Dana Brooke, Ashley. If you're out there watching, probably not. Hi. But she, like, no offense to her, but like, she was never involved in any like significant storylines usually. So, they cut that shit out. It's usually main event stuff and good. The promos were all the major promos were always there. So like, I didn't really feel like I missed anything. So that was always good. The problem I'm going to have is when they go to Netflix and I'm still refusing to fucking pay for that shit. I've never paid for it. I've always password shared. I don't plan on paying for it now. So I'm going to have to.
The only thing I will pay for Netflix for is to see Mike Tyson knock Jake Paul the fuck out.
Oh, absolutely.
We can only hope. It's really funny because I was actually talking with LV about this today. About that match. About Jake Paul's match with Money Mayweather. And we were talking about Money Mayweather, there was like at least 6 or 7 opportunities he could have just fucking knocked him out. But he's like, I'm Money Mayweather. I'm here for money. So that's why he let the fight go. And then it was like a no decision or something or some shit. I don't fucking remember. It's like it was an exhibition fight, didn't count against anybody's record. But if he thinks Mike Tyson's gonna fucking lay down for him, he's got another thing coming.
No,
that's not gonna happen. Mike Tyson will fucking kill him. And I don't care if Mike Tyson's 55 years old, 60 years old at this point.
57.
He's 58 years old. I don't get, dude. Seriously. Okay, so a few years ago, I met Sweet Pete Whitaker. We used to drink at the same bar.
Joe Louis, by the way, when he went against.
Yeah.
When he went against
Rocky Marciano.
Yeah. So so I met Sweet Pete Whitaker at this bar. Sweet Pete, he was a lightweight. He was about 145 pounds, whatnot. He's taller than me. I'm not fucking with that guy. He was an older guy at that point. I ain't fucking with him. He would kill me. He would kill me.
It was like,
I mean, I know Jake Paul's a trained boxer, but it's Mike Tyson, baby. That's the only person who ever got one on Mike Tyson was Buster Douglas.
Yep.
So if he's Buster Douglas, great. He ain't Buster Douglas.
No. Luckiest man in boxing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would love nothing more than to watch Tyson just knock his freaking skull out of his skin. That's all I want to see. And honestly, we just saw. I mean, look at Sting. I know we're comparing apples to oranges because boxing and professional wrestling are completely different. But even look at Sting in his 60s being able to go out there and move the way he does. Look at R-Truth in his 50s.
Truth
Does
moves like a 30-year-old to this day.
For crying out loud, R-Truth has me by more than a decade. He's more of an athlete in better shape or any of that stuff. I would never mess with Sting. I wouldn't mess with Mike Tyson. I wouldn't mess with R-Truth. There's a whole bunch of people. It doesn't matter how old you are.
I'm not messing with like the Undertaker. I'm not messing with Triple H either. Like,
oh, maybe Triple H now with the heart condition, but years ago, yes.
At Triple H with like a taser. I mean, he's done.
Yeah, the Undertaker. No, I'm still not messing with that guy. He hasn't been.
I would never
knock me out. Like,
it always makes me think of when Dan Le Batard used to say it on his show. He goes, "You could send every 70-year-old on planet Earth to me. I'm taking them all to the woodshed, unless it's Jeff Conine's dad." He goes, because that's the only 70-year-old that he's like, I've seen that man. He is jacked. He goes, I ain't fucking with him.
You know another person, 70-year-old dad that you wouldn't mess with is Matt Cardona's dad.
But not fuck with that guy either. That's exactly who I was thinking of, actually.
My dad.
My dad's almost 70. I wouldn't mess with my dad.
Yeah, mine too. Well, my dad's 60, but yeah.
All right. Tim in the chat saying we really need Tiffy time at WrestleMania.
I would like Tiffy time at WrestleMania. You know what? I love Tiffany Stratton. I love what she's doing. She's very athletic. She's very confident in the ring. Gimmick's a little cringe, but you know what? I think that's the whole point. So, yeah, I'm all about Tiffy time. I loved her in the Elimination Chamber match. I thought she was fantastic in that match.
Oh, she definitely had a very, very great performance in that match. I enjoyed it. I love the women's Elimination Chamber match.
I loved it. I like better than the men's match for sure.
Yeah.
Honestly, and it's crazy to think that over the last calendar year of professional wrestling, I have said that a lot more recently, where I loved the women's match as the best match of the night. I mean, Becky and Trish in the steel cage was incredible. Yeah. The women's Elimination Chamber match was incredible. The women's Royal Rumble match was my favorite part about the whole Royal Rumble premium live event.
You know what the best part about this, Bobby, is that we're at a point now with the women. We're not hearing about the women's revolution anymore. They're just part of the show. Yeah. They're on the same level as the men. They're not having to say, hey, look at this, look at this, look at us. They're there. And the women's division in both WWE, and to a lesser extent AEW. AEW could obviously do better, but they have great women's wrestlers there too. Women's wrestling is here, and it is here to stay. And I can't be happier for them. I think there will be a time when they get more time on these shows. I think they're inspiring young girls to start doing this. I mean, Tiffany Stratton's what, 25 years old, maybe?
If that.
She's probably, and look at Roxanne Perez. I mean,
she's 22 at most.
Old, and Lyra Valkyria's not that old either. And
Cora Jade is 22.
Thea Hale is like 18.
Yeah, Thea Hale's not even
very young. So,
by the way, Rhea Ripley is still in her 20s.
Yeah, Rhea Ripley's like 26 years old. She's been around forever. So you see these young girls, young women.
Bianca Belair.
Bianca Belair is another good example, and you're getting inspired by the Becky Lynches, by the Baileys, by even Sasha Banks, and even Charlotte Flair. You could see it. Now you're starting to see influences with these newer women. You see Tiffany Stratton being influenced by like a Trish Stratus and kind of a combined Trish Stratus and Charlotte Flair. Yep. You know what I mean? And you see, Roxanne Perez, she's clearly influenced by, I think she reminds me a little bit of Bayley at that point. So AJ Lee too. AJ Lee definitely inspired a lot of these girls as well.
Yeah.
Because, she was for a long time the only one you could take seriously. So
yeah.
It'd be great to see her back. I don't think she wants to come back. I don't think that's ever happening. I think she
has a small frame, and she messed up her neck really good by being a full-time performer, having that small frame. And I would say similarly, Sasha Banks, a.k.a. Mercedes Moné, that is why I think the investment Tony Khan has made in Mercedes Moné is a bad idea. Fine performer, I think a good character, doesn't cut the best promo,
No, never has.
But, like, she has a small frame, and taking those bumps in that ring, what have we seen from Mercedes in the last couple of years? She gets hurt.
She gets banged up. I mean, she goes hard. You know what? She goes hard in the ring. You can't take her away from Mercedes Moné. I know she can be annoying. I know her attitude may not be the best at times. But she loves what she does. She loves wrestling. And you know what? That passion can get you into trouble sometimes, especially in the ring. I mean, like, it just can't. So she needs to work to find a balance with, like, okay, I don't need to go hard every single night now, because there's not. Honestly, this goes back to what we were saying. Like, they had a chip on their shoulder. A lot of the women in WWE and just professional wrestling in general, they had a chip on their shoulder. They weren't getting the attention. They weren't getting the time. They were getting displaced by these shit models that could barely fucking function as athletes. Like, it. And no offense to them, I mean, they worked pretty hard too. They did their jobs, but, like, that's not what this is, you know? Right. So he needs to understand, like, you know, you have nothing to prove now. You're a star. You can take it easier in the ring and do your stuff, do your moves that people like, do your gimmicks that people like, and you're going to be fine. Now, obviously, if you want to go harder on the bigger shows, like the Manias or the All-Ins and whatnot, do it. Absolutely do. I mean, we're going to see these women beat the shit out of each other this weekend because they're going to be going hard. This is Wrestlemania. This is what you work for your entire lives and the entire year. So we're going to see the women really go hard this weekend, but, like, during, like, a Raw, don't do that.
Yeah.
And goes for the men too, by the way. I'm not saying single out the women here. This goes for the men too.
And to add
that shit too.
And to add on to what you said about women's and, like, the whole, they don't even talk about the revolution or the evolution anymore. Look at the card for this weekend. You have two women's main championship matches, the WWE and the World Heavyweight Championship, on top of the fact you have a 6-woman tag match. So 3 of the 13 matches on the biggest show, the biggest weekend in wrestling of the year. I don't care what, like I said at the beginning of the podcast.
When they are trying to sell this show as the biggest WrestleMania of all time, I don't think they're messing around. You're talking
they're not.
2 nights sold out in Philadelphia, and they're going to have the biggest gate they've ever had. They're going to have the most fans probably they've ever had for a WrestleMania weekend. They're going to have so much viewership. They're going to sell so much merch. I am so psyched. I mean, I'm leaving here in like 10 hours,
dude,
to go up to Philadelphia.
I'm kind of mad I'm not hopping in with you because, honestly, like, honestly, I couldn't afford it. I can't afford it at the moment, but that's the only reason I'm not going. And I'm very excited for you as a fan. You get to see, I mean, the build for this show has been fucking awesome. It has been fucking awesome. All the matches on this show, it feels like I'm a kid again. It really does. And you know, it's funny when you look back at some of the builds for the matches from when I was younger. I'm like, that kind of sucks. You know, because it's McMahonified and you know how it is. But no, like almost every match on this show, I am excited for. I am excited for Io Sky versus Bayley. I am excited for Rhea versus Becky. I'm excited for LA Knight versus AJ Styles. I'm excited for Dwayne and Roman versus Seth and Cody, and I'm excited for Cody versus Roman. I mean, this is WrestleMania extra large is extra large, buddy.
And you didn't even mention Gunther versus Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
Jay, just
look at that, man. I mean, this is gonna be crazy.
Jay, just
like pals on ladders.
Like I said to you before the podcast today, Jay, in comparison for what you're going to experience tomorrow as what has been booked as the greatest WrestleMania, as opposed to the one that I went to 29 years ago, although I got to see it and it's great, but you know, you get the New Day. I got Jacob and Eli Blue.
Yeah.
You're getting AJ Styles You're getting AJ Styles versus LA Knight. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got Bob Backlund versus Bret Hart in an I Quit match where Roddy Piper ruined that whole experience for me. I hated it then. I hated it on the rewatch. It was terrible. Bob, you quit? My God, just shut the fuck up, Roddy.
Rip in peace.
You're getting The Rock, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Cody Rhodes. I got Diesel.
Big Daddy Cool.
Hey, you to be fair, you got Pamela Anderson and Jenny McCarthy in their prime at WrestleMania.
You did.
I also got Jonathan Taylor Thomas and Nick Turturro.
In their
prime. You also got Donnie Wahlberg before his greatest turn ever as Danny. Why am I forgetting the last name on Blue Bloods?
Traeger.
Yeah.
Not Traeger.
That's Chris Traeger.
So no, Danny.
Anyway, before his greatest turn is Danny from Blue Bloods.
Jay, you're getting Gunther as your Intercontinental Champion. I had JEFFJARRETT as my Intercontinental Champion when I was there. So I think at the grand scheme of things, as great as it was and as an experience that I wish I got to see
the greatest pedophile in Giants history main event WrestleMania.
You can call him a crackhead all you want. That's fine.
You call him
you can call him a pedophile.
Yeah,
the girl told him she was 18. Okay, we've gone through this before. We'll go through this again. I will defend Lawrence Taylor. I no longer defend the Suckwan anymore because he's a fucking low-life scumbag piece of shit who should be sitting in the crowd throwing snowballs at Mick Foley when he dresses up as Santa Claus this weekend. I hope he tears every ligament in both of his knees and chokes on a cheesesteak.
They
suck. Dinos are both.
I hope he can choke on them both. I don't give a fuck. Fuck Saquon. Every ligament. I want every ligament torn in his knees. I don't even care. I don't have, I'll be mad at me all you want. Don't care. You could have went to Houston. You could have went to Houston or Cincinnati or Green Bay. That would have been fine. I could have been like, okay, I still like you, Saquon. No.
Fly,
you go.
Eagles fly on the road to not victory this year.
Yeah, there's the leave button right there. If I'm going to have to hear that song.
Doug is the greatest at singing that song at the absolutely perfect, inappropriate time.
Not even
lose.
The greatest. He'll sing the song when they're like losing and stuff, and it makes fans mad. And there's like a billion of them around.
This little pretzel.
Oh my God.
Oh, Red Dog.
That was a Hey, we're on the anniversary of that because that was a WrestleMania weekend when that happened.
I mean, I had other things going on. I was very sad I missed the pretzel.
That would have been WrestleMania 33, 34.
I think it was 34 because 33 was when Roman beat The Undertaker. And I remember everybody who was in the house for that one because I was the only person who asked to go to bed before the main event because I said, and I quote, I don't need to see Roman Reigns beat The Undertaker. Oh, come on, Cousin Bobby. You got to stay up and watch it. You're not going to miss the main event. You can't go to bed before the main event.
Right.
And who was the only person in that house that was still awake to actually witness The Undertaker lose to Roman Reigns?
You were the sole survivor. The sole survivor. It was the wrong pay-per-view.
Well, I smoked myself out, I think. So
I wish I had.
I had worked myself, podcasted myself, and probably 40'd myself out of that one. To be fair.
We haven't watched a show together in a very long time, boys.
I know.
We should get together for one of these days.
We're gonna have to.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Class 13.
What?
Yes. We can get
Class
baked.
13.
Jeff,
Oh
we
wait,
can get
we're
baked and watch
only
Class
11 years away from
Castle.
You know what? We're gonna watch a show together when they do Clash 13 in Glasgow, Scotland, and Drew brings out, and he's gonna end up having like some sort of thing with Sheamus, and
Oh God.
And then they go against Noam Dar, and like every Scottish person that has ever happened to WWE is going to come out.
They're gonna dig up Roddy Piper's carcass.
Yeah,
so he can,
and
so
they're
he
going to do tea time with Santino in Glasgow.
Oh my God.
So that Roddy Piper could be, Weekend and Bernie's as the referee, just shoving the microphone and Drew McIntyre. Drew, you quit? No! Boom, Claymore, you fucking dead fuck.
Going against JD McDonough.
Funko head.
Hey, you watch that. JD McDonough, I'm like, I understand. And what it's like to live like that. But
yeah.
Fucking huge.
Yeah, but Jeff, come on. Let's be real. He's the only person that actually looks like his body belongs in South Park because his head is about the size of the rest of his body.
To be fair, I used to be really skinny. So that's kind of what I used to look like. But now that I filled out, it matches my body. His doesn't. So
what you're saying is that JD McDonough needs to go to like Wendy's for a Dave double.
Yeah, get it for $1. Get it for $1. Dave single. Yeah, I gotta get one of those.
And I'm gonna have that song stuck in my head once again.
Oh, I know. That's like
give me that fillet fish
commercial that sticks out. I'm like, this is the one.
It was for the longest time. It was the Whopper one. Whopper Junior, Whopper. That stupid song. Now it's the I will never listen to Sandstorm again.
I can't listen to Sandstorm again. I'll never not hear it anymore.
Ding President, ding President.
Get it for $1. Get it for $1. Dancing. I'm like, she's like, I have nightmares about that.
I can never listen to Ludacris Get Back without thinking about fucking Nissans anymore.
It's a shame too because that is my favorite Ludacris song of all time. I love that song.
Me too. I mean, it's like it plays every break during March Madness, and it's like, and there's always commercials like during March Madness. Like I remember years ago during pandemic, like 2021 March Madness, it was Draymond Green and Jason Tatum, and they were in a Subway commercial, and Draymond Green goes, "Fuck the best thing," and Jason's like, "What did you say?" And it's like the worst acting ever. So I'm gonna remember this.
Okay, I have to ask you since it kind of relates to wrestling.
Yeah.
Was Draymond Green's performance in that commercial better, the same, or worse than Rob Gronkowski's performance at WrestleMania? I think it was 36.
Well, the pandemic WrestleMania.
The COVID
36.
COVID mania. When he was just god awful.
I mean, here's the thing. Gronk's just not a good performer in like anything he does, but that's like the whole point because he's dumb. Or that's his gimmick anyway. I don't think he's a dumb guy.
He's Spartan football.
Yeah, he's he's literally like meathead football guy, like 101. So
he was born with CTE.
Honestly, yeah. So it's funny, like people try to pin that on Travis Kelce now. I'm like, he's kind of dumb. He's kind of
he's
like,
meat shield.
What?
That's what Kelce is. Kelce's meat shield.
Yeah.
I think part of the thing with Gronk, he grew up in Buffalo and probably took a few too many shots through a table that possibly were on fire in the parking lot of the Rich Stadium in Orchard Park.
I always forget that he actually grew up there because he went to Arizona, so that always throws me off. But it's always funny.
No, he's Bill's Mafia.
Isn't it Ohio State for his recruitment? And like the next day he's at the game and he's just like so fucking hungover. Like the pictures of like.
My favorite thing about Gronk was when, and it's terrible that I think of it this way, was when that whole Aaron Hernandez thing came out, and I was listening at the time. I was actually able to listen to WEEI, and they were talking about how Aaron Hernandez had wrote the letter to Bill Belichick, apologizing for what he did, and they mentioned it. I forget what show it was. It was the early show, the guys from like 6 to 10. Dennis and Callahan, thank you. And they were like, if this was Gronk instead of Aaron Hernandez, he would have wrote that apology letter in crayon. And I was like, that is the most accurate statement they could have made about it, because it is the most truthful thing that would have happened.
Yeah, he would have.
I still am very upset and disappointed that he never made it in WWE. And I'm even doubly upset that WWE never reached out to the Tebow, because Tebow would have been a great star in WWE.
Yeah, you going to Tebow thing when he comes here?
Yeah, he's going to be at the Coliseum. He's going to be at the spaceship.
Fuck yeah.
Up in your neck of the woods, Brainless One.
Ooh, the Tebow.
Talking about Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, Tim is asking who's winning the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. He says, I have Ricochet. I'm putting it out there that I want Bronson Reed.
Oh, please. There's only one answer and one answer only. The man is a spectacle. He isn't a part of WrestleMania, although he should be. And as a very, very, very strong, supportive Omos sapien, obviously I'm picking Omos to win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
Yeah.
There's no way that I couldn't. And it's just a shame.
Because he's so much larger than everybody else.
I used to love the Andre gimmick Battle Royal because it was fun. It was for Andre. And, Andre has a very special place in my heart, but they ruined it. I don't even know if it was when they took it off WrestleMania or if they had Madcap Moss win it. Either way, neither one of them did them any good. What the fuck is Madcap Moss winning that match for? I would love to root for that. I would love to watch that match. I would love to be a fan of it. I would love to I love the Andre Battle Royal. I love Battle Royals. Cesaro slam, eliminating the Big Show, lifting him up like a sack of potatoes and depositing him outside the ring in the first one was awesome.
Yeah.
That shit was great. When Baron Corbin hit that running clothesline and eliminated Braun Strowman like it was nothing, I was like, holy shit, that match used to be fun. Now it's just a way to just get all the guys who are in tag teams doing absolutely nothing and all the lower mid-card guys that shouldn't even be on WrestleMania, so they get their 5 minutes of fame so that Ricochet may or may not win, or it's going to be Omos. And then Ricochet is going to turn this Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal win into him becoming the Speed Champion, so he is the champion of the 5 minute or less matches or 3 minute and less matches.
That's what she said.
And it's funny that WWE is promoting a show where 3 minute matches and they're not the women's matches. I mean, they're going to do the Speed thing where the Bella Twins not available. I mean, they were the queens of the 3 minute matches. Because you saw all you needed to see from them in 3 minutes.
So, speaking of women in WWE, did you see that the wife of one Matt Cardona ended up getting kicked out of her own hotel?
Yes, Chelsea.
Chelsea Green.
My good friend Chelsea Green, who is a very lovely woman. I've interviewed her.
She is my favorite woman in all of WWE.
She is a great person, great interview.
As lovely as AJ McCarron's wife.
She's a 10. Oh my God, who is that? I like how my Musburger voice is the same as my Vince voice. But anyway, so essentially, I guess Chelsea got kicked out of this very nice hotel because of how she was dressed. They discriminated against an immigrant.
Well,
they believed that she was a streetwalker. They believed she was a prostitute. She had a tube top on and had a very short dress on. She was at the Fairmont Hotel in New York City. And I'm calling them out specifically on this because, before you kick somebody out, maybe you should check if they actually have a reservation and are staying in your hotel. If you have a dress code in your hotel, like that's a little jacked up if you ask me. So if they don't have some sort of dress code, why are you doing that? That's chicken.
It's completely ridiculous. I mean, like, Chelsea's, she's a beautiful woman. She's going to dress the way she's going to dress. She's absolutely has every right to dress that way. And, unless you're going to like a place where it's like, oh, formal attire only, or please make sure you have a collared shirt, or make sure you're not showing your midriff or any of that stuff. Unless you have a code, which, required for entry.
I mean, I think there probably should be a code, like you should be wearing clothing.
Yeah,
and she was.
She wasn't dressed any worse than anyone I've ever seen out in public. I've seen way raunchier stuff in public at like regular places.
I've seen people walk in dressed worse walking into Walmart.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to be fair.
To be fair. It is Walmart.
Isn't there a Twitter account? I'm sorry, an X account and/or an Instagram account of people of Walmart?
Yes. There's a Facebook account to start, I think.
Yeah.
I've seen my fair share just between the Yorktown and especially the one in Newport News. I don't know what it is. I am convinced now that Newport News was only in Virginia because all of the rejects from the rest of the state and all of the failed military experiments are in Newport News.
To be fair, we lived in the other city that you could explain as that too.
I mean, dude, I'd rather live in Newport News than Portsmouth. I'm sorry.
I mean, P-Town was something special.
P-Town's a special place, guys.
It is.
We lived in Brighton, Cousin Jay. I would rather be back in Brighton dealing with gunshots and stuff like that than have to deal with this place.
We don't know. It might have been fireworks.
That's my favorite.
5% of the time.
Cousin Jay, that was a slug I found on the patio, and I'm talking about the insect slug.
Yeah.
Hint, wink, wink. Yeah. I will say this. I would rather live in Portsmouth than Newport News.
Wow.
Okay.
And this is coming from somebody who not only was born and raised in Hartford, which is an absolute shithole in its own right, and not only did I spend a good decade plus in hard-hitting New Britain, but I spent a significant amount of time in Portsmouth. And Newport News, Virginia, is the worst city, town I have ever lived in.
So you trying to what? Or are you stuck?
I hate it. Newport News is horrible. Nobody knows how to drive. Nobody knows how to work. Nobody has a functioning brain. I am 100% convinced that this is an actual place that they just put, like, for crying out loud, they had kids that were in first grade who were 10 years old. Like, what is this?
Wait, is Sid from Toy Story, does he live there?
I'm like, I'm very conservative, but you know what? Maybe, just maybe, the abortion laws are a little too lenient. Maybe we need to have, or maybe they're too strict. They need to be more lenient. Maybe after a while, you're like, yeah, you got to just go. Here, just take them. Gone. Okay, you're not a problem anymore.
That's rough.
That may or may not affect my campaign, later this year when I try to take out the Angry Cheeto and Dementia Joe, which is fine.
It's foil Robert.
It's either me or literally anyone else, and all I have to do is beat literally anyone else. I mean, if I get 100 votes, I do a full waxing of the chest and stomach on the podcast live. 100 votes for the Brainless One in the election in 2024. Make America brainless again. Don't you worry. I'll close the border.
It already is.
That's the point, Jeff. I have to go on my slogan. I have been promoting the slogan for the better part of 3.5 years. I have to stick with it, okay?
Oh, God.
Make America brainless again. Can't get any worse than the last two.
Dementia Joe is the worst ever. I am an angry Cheeto, and I am going to nuke the world if I don't win. I still have the codes. I have them locked away in Mar-a-Lago. I'm going to call up.
They were there.
I'm going to call up the general. I'm going to say, hey, I got the codes.
You get to run.
Shit.
By the way, this is Brainless Joe. I'm calling you because I want to nuke Delaware. I'm nucleing Delaware, specifically Bethany Beach. There's a house there in Bethany Beach that happens to have some illegal documents that needs to be taken care of. Thank you.
It also has Hunter Biden in his laptop.
Oh my
laptop. Don't you worry, everyone. I only make mistakes twice.
Week I haven't thought about either of those guys in months. Like
you're welcome.
This week we were just so focused on other stuff. It was actually really nice.
And I'm gonna say this: this tinfoil hat theory. Hunter Biden is actually the son of Herb Abrams.
He killed me. He killed me.
Yeah. I mean, President, right?
Oh.
The only man that enjoys hookers and blow more than Herb Abrams is Hunter Biden.
No, reverse that. The only person who loves hookers and blow more than Hunter Biden is Herb Abrams. I would say Tony Khan, but he definitely doesn't like the hookers.
Yeah. All right. So maybe we should now. I mean, Brainless One. I don't know if you want to get to your top 10 now, or if you want to wait until after we do our WrestleMania predictions.
I'll do the top 10 now. Let's do it.
Brainless.
Like I said before, I have a very special top 10 this week. I put a lot of thought and effort into this one. And with it being WrestleMania weekend, which I've already announced was my favorite weekend of the year.
Yeah.
Every year.
Yeah.
Used to be my favorite day, but now it's my favorite weekend because we get 2 days to enjoy 13 matches as opposed to jamming 13 matches into a 6-hour card.
There was an 8-hour WrestleMania one year. I think it was 32.
Which the one with The Rock and Bray Wyatt and Stone Cold Steve Austin and Shawn Michaels, where the main event was Roman Reigns going against Triple H.
Was that 32?
Was that 32?
That was 32.
That was 32.
That's right.
And Dallas rhymes with Gallus, and Gallus trained The Rock.
And Jet.
How did that?
Yeah, for this WrestleMania, Gallus helped The Rock get ready.
Hey, you know what? Gallus, 2-3 guys that are good enough to do that. So
is Curtis Axel.
Yes.
Yes.
But for this week, I thought I'd do something special for WrestleMania. And not only am I doing something special for WrestleMania, it is my top 10. What the hell? I can't
Greatest
read my own
cupcakes enjoyed by Kevin Owens.
Jesus Christ, I can't even read my own handwriting. And I wrote this before the podcast, and I still can't. Oh, yeah, here we go. The top 10 tinfoil hat theories for WrestleMania that can only come from the beautiful mind that is the Brainless One. And not only is that my top 10 list, I also have a tinfoil hat.
Oh, my God.
To wear for when I do my top 10 list.
Oh, no. Radio Waves ain't getting to you.
Anyway, top 10 tinfoil hat theories for Mania that can only come from the beautiful mind that is the Brainless One for a guy who has a total of a whopping 17 brain cells.
He has a theory.
That guy does suck, but that's not a tinfoil hat one. Number 10, Damian Priest will cash in on Drew McIntyre after CM Punk attacks Drew as retaliation for an unnecessary Claymore while he's doing broadcasting.
I don't think that's beyond.
Or I mean, he did it to John Cena all those years ago when he was filling in on the broadcast when he was hurt.
Yep.
So why wouldn't they try to go back to that well again? I mean, it's been a long time. So, and it will be great callbacks to all the, it's so funny because you get to think those fans who are probably, those fans are probably now in their 20s who were really young when they saw that. Like, oh my God, this reminds me of when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So you got to remember. Right.
Yeah.
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 I could see I don't know what it is. I just got this crazy theory that Damian Priest is walking out as world champion on Sunday.
Hey, you know what? I wouldn't hate it. You know what? He's great. Love me some Priest. Love me some penis.
He's spooky.
Spooky pals. Number 9. We get an Avengers Endgame finish to the main event of night 2.
Like, who's Thanos?
Roman.
Oh, you mean like
he's got the... No, as in...
I mean, he does have the glove, to be fair.
I mean more on
the he's going to sit up there, and then all of a sudden, we're going to see the actor who plays Homelander come out, and then it's going to be Cody pointing at Homelander while Homelander's pointing at him, and as Roman's about to do the snap, then all of a sudden, you're going to have Iron Man, who is Scott Steiner, come out of nowhere, and we all know that there's no way Roman could beat him.
Because there's 141 2/3 chance that Roman Reigns is going to get snapped. I was thinking more of the lines at the end of Endgame when they had everybody come through the portals. And instead of it being like all the superheroes, it's all the people who were wronged and defeated by Roman Reigns throughout this entire reign. So obviously, Seth Rollins is already getting involved in this. Obviously, Jey Uso can get involved in this. You can have Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and Randy Orton and John Cena and Rey Mysterio and every single person that has lost to Roman during this reign, minus...
I mean, you could even go and have The Undertaker showing up as the American Badass because he lost to him at WrestleMania.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about when I say the Endgame kind of thing where all the people who've been wronged by Roman... This looks so weird with the aluminum foil on my head, by the way.
Now would that also mean that maybe perhaps we get a Bo Dallas as the Fiend?
As the great Kevin Garnett once said after winning the NBA title in 2008 with Hondo and KJ, anything is possible. Anything short of the Canadian Voldemort coming back to life and showing up this weekend, anything's possible. Or even the dastardly Voldemort even showing up this weekend. Number 8, Brock Lesnar returns to help Cody Rhodes win.
No.
Okay. Number 7, Cousin Jay, I know you're going to love this one.
All right.
Number 7, F and Mark's Hall of Famer Sean O shows up to WrestleMania for one reason and one reason only. To steal Tommaso Ciampa's heat again.
Yes. Yes.
I think that's the most realistic of all of the things on my tinfoil hat theory.
Yeah, especially after he posted the thing today on Facebook about staying away from Philadelphia for the weekend.
Which confirms
that is just to swerve the whole crowd.
So that means he's either going to steal Ciampa's heat or he's teaming up with the Orient Express to take on the Bloodline. I'm going with the second part with him and the Oriental Express because him, Kato, and Tanaka could beat Roman Reigns, Solo, and Jimmy.
Okay.
But number 6, Captain Cupcake will turn on Randy Orton during their triple threat match for the U.S. title because and only because in catering, Randy Orton grabbed the last cupcake before Kevin Owens can get it.
Why look at Randy Orton. You think he eats cupcakes?
I mean, who wouldn't eat a cupcake?
I was going to say, are we 100% sure that it wouldn't be Cassius Ohno?
Well, I mean, that would just be, I mean, he'd have to go to AEW. And quite frankly, if Kevin Owens went to AEW, I wouldn't be that upset.
You're still a hater after all these years, huh?
The cupcake eater worlds.
El Jefe. Let me explain something to you. I am the pettiest man in America. Okay,
I'm a big hater too.
I am the pettiest man in America, and when you wrong me by blocking me just because I make a silly joke, proving that you're softer than toilet tissue, I got a problem with it.
Charmin toilet tissue or Scott's?
Scott's.
Okay.
Because that shit falls apart.
Costco, good at toilet paper for like 2 years now.
I the best toilet paper I've ever gotten was from Target. And then they stopped making it.
Very sad.
Yes, very sad. Number 5. I keep forgetting how messed up I am when I get higher up this list. Number 5, Tommy Dreamer finally goes through with his WrestleMania 17 plan and murders Paul Heyman in front of The Rock during night 1 of WrestleMania before ending his own life in the ring.
This was number 5?
That's number 5. I had to fit that somewhere in there. I just randomly thought of it. I was like, this dude's going in the Hall of Fame. He could have asked Tommy Dreamer to induct him. No, I'm going to have Roman Reigns do it. Tommy gets pissed off, shows up, offs Paul Heyman before the end of night 1's main event. Rock goes to hit a rock bottom. Paul Heyman gets his brains blown out all over the place. Tommy Dreamer gets in the ring. This is for ECW. And there goes the tinfoil hat.
First of all, I think Tommy Dreamer's full of fucking shit when he tells that story.
It's still funny. I'm sorry.
It's still hilarious. Funny. I mean, it's the funniest shit I've ever heard in my entire life. Yeah, that's hardcore, man. I don't want WrestleMania to be a snuff film. I mean, it would be the biggest WrestleMania ever if it happened. Don't get me wrong, but.
Number 4, WWE is going to partake in lazy booking. After months and months of keeping both tag team titles on the single team, they are finally going to use the ladder match as a way to get the belts back on the respective brands on separate tag teams. I.e., The Miz and R-Truth will grab the Raw tag team titles and we'll say, for argument's sake, El Jefe's favorite wrestler, Austin Theory, and Waller take down the SmackDown titles.
Okay, I do think they're going to do this because they've kind of alluded to it a little bit in a way.
They've been making a lot of mentions to it.
Yeah, and honestly, like it's Truth in the match. Truth is going to truth it up if he's on the top of the ladder. So. He'll probably grab the one belt, like, yeah, we're champions, Miz, we're champions. And Miz will be like, grab the other belts. And then, like, he gets knocked off the ladder. And then, let's just say, for argument's sake.
DIY. Go ahead, say it.
DIY. Johnny Gargano runs the fuck up the ladder, gets those belts, and I go nuts because it's land. He has to have belts for SummerSlam anyway. So.
Wait. So what you're saying in a dream scenario for you from the land,
yes,
is if DIY pulls down like the SmackDown titles and the Miz and R-Truth pull down the Raw tag team titles, you get double land championships.
I get double land champions, and then Austin Theory loses 2 times. So that makes me very happy.
And then possibly we get a unification match at SummerSlam between Land and Land.
And then they actually do merge the belts and make it one title.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number
3.
Number 3.
That's a preview for our predictions later, boys.
Yeah, basically.
It's not a prediction. It's a spoiler.
Oh, Cousin Jay, you're going to love this one. Number 3, before the start of Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley's Women's World Championship match, Charlotte Flair rolls up to the arena, pulls out her dick, and now it's a triple threat match.
Would have put it past him.
I
don't think she's pulling out a dick.
It would be a fine match.
It's what Ronda Rousey. This is what Ronda Rousey said that Charlotte Flair used to do. She would whip her dick out and get what she wanted.
I noticed Ronda's been on a little bit of a media tour here recently.
Yeah,
today, she was talking to Tamron Hall on one of the syndicated talk shows. But I also saw Triple Paul on the Kelly Clarkson show earlier. So
Kelly Clarkson.
Yeah, so like they're doing all the media rounds, but Ronda was on what's his name, Chris Cuomo, earlier this week talking about McMahon and Drew Gulak, which I thought was a very interesting story, and the way he told it also weird. Yeah, I won't touch that one, but anyway.
I mean, quite honestly, when I've been hearing Ronda's stories, I don't know how much I believe her.
See, like, I'm that's why I'm not touching it, because it's just I just don't have enough details or facts. I just don't.
Well, it's just kind of like,
I mean, super conflicting stories between the two of them.
Right. So I just don't know. Like, that's now, if there were witnesses and stuff that could back people up, then
Like CM Punk's dog. I mean,
yes.
Sure.
Cousin Chris.
Yeah.
Chris.
Leaving that one alone, I need more details. I need more specific information before I can make a judgment on that. Now, if that did happen the way she said it did, that's very, very sad.
Yes. And then there would be a judgment day.
Number 2, Gunther and Imperium attack Sami Zayn and Chad Gable, making it so that neither one of them is medically cleared to wrestle, but he still defends the title. But when his opponent comes out, it's a shameful thing. Lobster head, a careless man, and a wind-up dead. Are you kidding me? Sheamus replaces Sami Zayn and finally finishes off becoming the ultimate extreme Grand Slam champion of WWE.
One redhead to another.
Fella.
It has to be Lobster Head song too. I don't want it as like.
Oh yeah, it's got to be. That's why I made sure.
The garbage music that we have now with this new people who suck.
Yeah.
Ugh.
We need that and Broken Dreams back, and a better tinfoil hat for me. Well, that was 2 through 10. Cousin Jay, El Jefe, would you guys like to venture a guess of what my last tinfoil hat, my most important tinfoil hat theory is?
I mean, honestly, you already dropped the Tommy Dreamer thing. I feel like that should have been number 1.
Cousin Jay?
Trying to dig deep into the brainless brain.
I'll give you a hint. It's somebody, it has to do with somebody who has been rumored to possibly debut for WWE this weekend.
Well, let's see. MJF
Max
comes out and screws Cody Rhodes. The story isn't finished,
but a new one begins.
Yeah.
MJF comes out and helps the Bloodline, and Roman Reigns retains.
See, I would like that a lot. I think you know how I feel about this whole thing. I'm at the point with Roman where I just want him to keep this fucking going. Because Bloodline's been awesome. Still is awesome. They get a reaction, a huge reaction every time they're out there now.
Huge.
Why do you want to ruin that momentum?
And another thing with that, like as much of the crap that he's been getting for working this lesser schedule, we did find out during the documentary that A&E did on Roman Reigns that to this day, he is still taking oral medication for leukemia.
We're back.
So, there are various versions of like blood leukemia or blood cancer that just never leave you. So if what they're getting from Roman is what they can get from him, considering the diagnosis he has, I'm okay with it, because guess what? Wrestling is better than it has been in basically 2 decades.
It really is. I mean,
I'm okay with all of it.
Yeah.
I am too. And honestly, my only gripe is if they wanted to take the title off and he still maintains that schedule, I'm 100% on board with that. I don't need him risking his health and well-being by being out as much as he can. If he, this is not, as somebody who has experienced cancer in my family very much, I know not to mess with it.
Right.
This is something you have to take care of. And I have always appreciated him. I thought it was great that he got the reaction he got at his return at WrestleMania 35, because at the end of the day, he's playing a character. And wrestling fans do have remorse and sympathy. And when he came back and got that great reaction, it was great. It really was, because he didn't deserve to get booed. This is beyond professional wrestling. This is beyond everything that we've learned over the last 30 some odd years. This is Joe Anoa'i, and he is trying to live his life the best way he can. And if he wants to take some time away to worry about his health, then by all means, we have no problem with it. I'm just at the point where I'm just like, fine, put the title on somebody else. Everybody got sick and tired of it when Brock Lesnar showed up 3 or 4 times a year to defend the title, and he was champion for over 400 some odd days. If it was just something that happened recently and it wasn't like a normal occurrence, no big deal. He's on a run of his life. Let him keep doing it this way. However, you've had champions. When you had The Rock, when you had Brock Lesnar, and they were champion and they weren't there to defend the titles. That's the biggest thing. Like, everybody's like, oh, how could you say that Roman's reign has been that impressive when he's defended the title, 30, 40, 50 times in the 3 years, when Hulk Hogan's defending the title every night of the 400 days in a year? I mean, come on. This isn't the same thing. Roman Reigns, yes, it's incredible what he's going. This run is what the bloodline has meant to professional wrestling over the last handful of years. It is not more impressive than what Bruno Sammartino did. Bruno Sammartino was going and slamming 600-pound Haystacks Calhoun like he was a bales of hay every day, twice on Saturday, twice on Sunday.
I mean, not as impressive as Hogan slamming a nearly 1,000-pound Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3, tearing every ligament in his back.
No,
9 days before Andre passed away.
I mean,
after he had finished filming The Princess Bride. That's a new nugget that you never heard before. It was right after he finished doing
The Princess Bride. Don't worry.
Andre was just getting drunk on set because his back hurt so much, and he was aided by the Dread Pirate Roberts.
Do you hear that, Princess? Those are the shrieking eels.
Inconceivable.
Never bet against a Sicilian when death is on the line. No, I've only seen that movie maybe once or twice.
Really?
No, I've seen it probably about 100.
The other thing with Roman Reigns that's disappointing at this point, as much as his new theme song is great, it's not.
Roman Reigns, his hair is really wet.
And that's all I got to say about that.
Well, since we are on the topic of Roman Reigns, would you guys like to get into some predictions for WrestleMania this weekend?
Yeah, this way we don't break our own record of having a podcast longer than WrestleMania.
Right.
I mean, we did. Okay, there was one year we did like a 5-hour one. Let's be real about that.
Wait, we also had 4,100 people tune in that day.
That was crazy, and it went that long because of but. He's probably really
when you pick everybody in every match to be the winner,
well,
you're not going to be wrong, but you're also not going to be right.
I only took 17 people for the Rumble. How the hell did I lose my pen? God darn it. Son of a... Hold on. Stand by.
Right. So, we're going to start with night 1 of WrestleMania. We're going to talk about the 6-woman tag match. And we will have Bianca Belair, Naomi, and Jade Cargill going against the Damage Control.
Now, before we get into this, the standings are from the previous 2 pay-per-views. Cousin Jay and Nicole are tied at first at 7-1. El Jefe, you are 6-2. And back in last place, the Boston Red Sox of the Brainless One. I am an astonishing 3-5.
Damn. I'm 6-2 in the last two? That's crazy. I didn't think I was going to be that good. Okay.
And what was, I think, one of the pay-per-views, like, you got one wrong and Jay was flawless, and then he got one wrong, and then there was one pay-per-view you both only got, like, one wrong, and then I got, like, the whole card wrong.
Yeah?
Yeah. For the women's 6-woman tag match, I think this is kind of a no-brainer. Jade Cargill is not losing. Bianca Belair is not losing.
No.
And the fact that they brought back Naomi and they're making a big deal about it, and she's getting a big match at WrestleMania, and it is a big match. I don't care what anybody says. I'm taking the three of them.
Block.
Oh yeah, it's almost a lock for me. But I'm gonna go with Jade, Bianca, and Naomi.
Agreed. 100%.
Yeah, it's gonna be a clean sweep here. Jade Cargill is the biggest, hottest commodity they've signed in a while. They've protected her very well. They made sure that she is okay to wrestle in the WWE style. They made sure that she is a big fucking deal. So she isn't losing this match. The Damage Control will have more involvement later. We'll get to that. But it's, I mean, you can't deny what this actually is. This is a vehicle for Jade Cargill to be on the big stage for the first time. Also, Bianca Belair is awesome. Naomi's awesome. So any weakness she may have, they can cover that up.
And they will probably have her get the pin.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
It's going to be on Dakota Kai, too.
Oh, it definitely will be on Dakota Kai. They protect Asuka and Kairi very well. So Dakota Kai, I feel bad for her in a way because she is really good, but she's always kind of been like that fourth person in that group. She always has been.
I've been a fan of her since her NXT days.
Oh, I think very highly of her. I really
Same.
do. Yeah.
All right. What about the Battle of the Twins? Jimmy versus Jay.
Not that I'm going to say this is an absolute lock. I'm going with Yeet. If you're talking about the dude who has more potential, it's main event Jey Uso. You're not going to put any eggs in the carton that is known as Jimmy Uso, Mr. DUI. Like, you could trust him to a certain level, but the dude clearly in the past several years has had a lot of issues with substance.
Mm-hmm.
So, Yeet.
Yeah,
Jey Uso wins this.
I'm with you. I'm with you, Jey Uso. I mean, they obviously see something in him, and it's really funny when he broke off from the Bloodline, and you saw all those people just going nuts in the crowd when doing with the song and everything. I'm like, they have another star on their hands here. I don't know if he's ever going to be like huge, but he is a possible main eventer. Means main event Jey Uso. I mean, that's why you give him the moniker. They're both great. I mean, they're both very, very solid in-ring performers. You know, they're both sons of Rikishi. They obviously don't wrestle like them because the both of them combined are still not one Rikishi. But
now here's a guy.
I don't know, Jim.
But yeah, it's going to be Jey Uso here for the reasons that you mentioned, Jay. It's Jimmy Uso. You know, can't be trusted. He just can't. I mean, he has not done anything over the last few years as proven that he can be. Obviously, Jey Uso keeps his nose clean. He's a great worker. He seems like a great guy. Great promo. Excellent promo, actually.
Yeah.
So they're going to put their eggs in that basket. And unfortunately for Jimmy Uso, he is the Marty Jannetty of that tag team.
I think that's a little
extreme. I think I'm being a little extreme. That's still
hey, and to be fair, Marty Jannetty was a tag team champion and an intercontinental champion. Quite honestly, if it wasn't for his trash personal life, he should be in the WWE Hall of Fame.
And you know what? That's still on the cards for Jimmy Uso. He keeps his nose clean. He keeps working really hard. He stays out of trouble. He can get some secondary titles. He can be a U.S. champion. He can be an Intercontinental champion. But, main event and world titles, I don't think they're going to be on the cards for him for at least a while.
Fair enough. Jay Uso, clean sweep, 4 for 4.
Second tier Jimmy Uso.
That's not really that big of a surprise, really, for me.
That is not.
How about the match that El Jefe is definitely looking forward to because there's so much land in it?
It's the land match.
It's the 6-pack ladder match between the Spooky Pals, the Awesome Truth, the New Day, whatever Catch Republic with Pete Dunne and Virgin Bait.
The New Catch Republic.
The New Catch Republic with Pete Dunne and his man-child friend Tyler Bate, who I have done a complete 180 on from when he was in NXT UK. DXY and A-Town Down Under.
I have a theory. They're not winning.
I have a theory. They're not even going to be in the match.
This guy sucks.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna put this one out there, and most people would probably say not a chance, maybe dark horse chance. I have to go with the New Catch Republic. I like that.
Yeah.
I enjoy them,
Yeah.
and if they possibly see something in them, do it now.
Okay.
Do it now. So, New Catch Republic for me.
Okay.
I mentioned earlier during your tinfoil segment,
Or what's left of it.
or what's left of your tinfoil segment. I think you're onto something here with R-Truth climbing the ladder, grabbing one set of the belts, and be like, Miz, we won. And then Miz being like, no, Truth, grab the other belts. And then someone pushes him off, doesn't matter who it is. And then match continues for a little bit, and then somehow Johnny Gargano or Tommaso Ciampa, whichever one, climbs the ladder, and we get DIY as one set of tag team champions. We get the Awesome Truth, who was once again one set of another tag team champions, and they go off on their separate ways and whatnot. Maybe they do a match on Raw the next night, or a Monday night, I should say. Maybe to try to unify the titles or do the gimmick where they get one title.
Do it in land.
Do title for title. But it ends in some bullshit disqualification or whatever. And then, they go their separate ways for, 6 months. And then in August, Cleveland Browns Stadium, Cleveland, Ohio, we get the match of the land between Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, who's I think is from Wisconsin or whatever. I don't know. Give a fuck. And The Miz, Parmesan The Miz, and R-Truth, which I don't even know where he's from. I think he's in North Carolina or something.
I think he's from Carolina or Florida.
Yeah, something like that. But we'll have land in that match for sure, and we need it.
Now, I'm not going to
Versus LeBron James.
Against referee.
I am not going to treat this like categories where if I get both tag teams right, if I pick 2 to win them and I get 2 points, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do what everyone thinks I'm going to do. And it's just flip out, man. But I agree. This is 3 out of 4 people that think that the titles are splitting at WrestleMania. And I'm going to have to agree with the wife on this one. I think that the New Catch Republic takes the SmackDown tag team titles and the Awesome Truth gets the Raw ones, because I just, if I only pick one, it's the Awesome Truth. But the more that they keep announcing and making a big deal about you have to pull down both sets of tag team titles to win the match, I feel like this is their way that they're going to finally split those titles.
You're kind of telegraphing it, which in a way kind of sucks, but at the same time, it's good to plant that in my head.
Yeah. Because
not that pissed off.
Because even if they did split the belts that way, you still don't know what the two tag teams are going to win the belts. It could be any of the two tag teams. Mm-hmm. It could be the Spooky Pals, even though I think Damian Priest is off to better things after this.
Yeah.
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 How about the Women's World Heavyweight Championship match between Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley?
This is an excellent match. A lot of great build. Great build, actually. Excellent build. I think, Becky's obviously, she's an all-time great at this point. You can't deny it. Cannot deny she's an all-time great at this point. And the same thing for Rhea Ripley. I mean, she is there. She has you can call yourself an all-time great in your mid-20s. That's special. It's very special. I think that this is the time for Rhea Ripley to really set herself apart from, the horsewomen, essentially. Like, all four of them obviously had great runs, have had great runs. Rhea is, I think, they see a lot of just future with her. Yeah. Becky's 35, 36 years old at this point. Something so, like Rhea's still at 26, 27. So I think they see her having longevity. Think they see her as look how popular she is. She is I think Elimination Chamber, I know it was home for her, but I think that really set in stone what they think of her.
Yeah.
So I think this is going to be Rhea Ripley retaining that title, going on a very, very long run with it. Obviously, and then I think her next feud, I think you alluded to this, Bobby, Charlotte Flair.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a great next feud for her to really establish her. And since McMahon's not there anymore, we don't have to worry about Charlotte Flair getting that belt back immediately.
Right.
So I really wanted to get her to 16, 17, but that was really his thing.
Well, I think the thing with Charlotte is they're going to wait for that for when she's fully healthy from her knee injury. And then I think we finally get to Charlotte and Rhea. Because I honestly, Jeff, I agree with you. I full-heartedly agree with you. I do think that this is Rhea's time. And I think that her going over on Becky is perfect because Becky is, like you said, one of the all-time greats. And she is one of the biggest stars they have.
He is their biggest women's star they probably ever had.
I'd say since Trish Stratus.
Trish Stratus. But in the terms of this era of wrestling and as just a wrestler in general, she's the best they've ever had. So to see Rhea kind of get the torch passed to her in a way, and it's really funny to be talking about Becky Lynch like this. I mean, we've only really had her in WWE in the system at least for 9 years now. I think she got the XT 15. So it's funny to we're moving on from her now. It's well, she's going to be around for a while, I think. But she loves us too much. But at the same time, it's you have someone who's ready to do this right now, and she's very young. And she's very popular, and she's a great promo. She just has everything you ever would want in a professional wrestler. And that's Rhea Ripley, and I think she's ready to do it. I think she's ready to carry that torch for WWE women and really WWE in general.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah, I agree with Rhea retaining in this match.
Well,
her and Becky have built this storyline well, and Becky has been the breakout performer where nobody quite expected her to break out quite as much as she did. But she worked her tail off, and she got to the spot that she's in right now. And it isn't just because of this, but, she has said during the media rounds promoting her book, by the way, New York Times bestseller, Becky Lynch now. She says she has 2 months left on her WWE contract. All that being said, I believe she will re-sign. I don't think she's taken time off, but it's Rhea's time right now. To me, it wouldn't make a ton of sense to take the title off her.
Right. Nicole is actually the only one that picked Becky Lynch. So.
Yeah.
That was the first time where it wasn't more than one or two combatants that we differentiated all on. But that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah.
Well, how about we talk about, I think this is on night one. I'm sorry if it is, Cousin Jay. But what about Ray and Dragon Lee versus Dominic Mysterio and Santos Escobar?
Specifically for this match, last year, you had Dom go against his father, and
one of the greatest WrestleMania entrances of all time.
Yes. Going to be a slamming award-winning entrance, by the way. All that being said, after last year, after the growth of Dominic this year, unless there's some sort of crazy finish, Dominic, I think, needs to win to get even more heat than he already has, which is really difficult to describe. I mean, I was at the Scope Arena during Monday Night Raw when Dominic Mysterio came out. They do not pipe in noise for that. They may turn down his microphone so you can't really hear him that much.
Yep.
The noise is real. Anytime he puts the microphone near his mouth, the crowd goes like
ape shit
to 11.
Yeah.
Dom and Santos, I think, need to win.
I agree.
I'm with you here, Jay. For the reasons that you mentioned, Dominic Mysterio is one of the biggest heels in wrestling right now. It's so funny knowing how beloved his father is, knowing how Rey Mysterio has really never been a heel in his career, not in a way like this.
Right.
It's just so funny how they're just so polar opposite of each other. And I love it. I absolutely love it. I used to be like, this is Rey Mysterio's dipshit son coming to the ring. Not anymore. He's really coming to his own. And the thing is, he was trying to be his father at first, right? He's doing a 619. He's like twice the size of his dad. Like you cannot be doing the same shit your father was doing. But now that he's figured out his own style and his own character and his own gimmick, I have no problem with the guy. I really don't. I'm very excited to see what he can do at this WrestleMania.
Me too. And I agree. I think.
Tim's saying on SmackDown, Dragon Lee got taken out. And Tim is, I think, saying that Andrade is going to replace Dragon Lee.
Hey.
Quite honestly, it should be Carlito. It should be Carlito.
Carlito?
All that being said, I still would say Dirty Dom needs to win.
Agreed. We all agree except for Nicole, who, just like the last match, differentiated. She went with Ray and Dragon Lee. She can't bring herself to pick Dominic Mysterio.
I mean, there's only one wrestler I can't pick for anything, and you know who it is. We already went.
Yeah,
Bastion Booger.
No.
Close. Do I have a theory on who it is?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Does he suck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saquon.
All right, let's see.
Maybe Saquon Barkley shows up tomorrow with Jason Kelsey.
Stop.
There. I mean, like, it would have shot. No, because they reached out to Jason Kelsey, didn't they? No, he needs to be at SummerSlam for Land. Him and Trav.
He could be at both.
Yeah. They could be a tag team match at Land SummerSlam.
Maybe they could be the special entrance when they pick out Austin Theory and Grayson Waller from the tag team ladder match. You got the Kelsey brothers.
There you go.
And they'll have Taylor Swift cam up in the box. It'll be more exciting than when Susan Waldman saw Roger Clemens in George Steinbrenner's press box.
Oh my God, it's Roger Clemens and he's back. Roger Clemens is in George's box. Oh my God. Oh my
Goodness gracious me.
Do you see it, John Sterling? Oh my God.
Well,
Roger is back. Sad part is that was probably as close to the reenactment as it actually was.
pitcher for the Savannah Bananas.
Oh God! All right, Intercontinental title match: Gunther, Sami Zayn. Who do you got?
Gunther. He ain't losing.
I think Sami Zayn's about to take a break because he's booked for some comedy stuff.
Yeah, I saw that.
I think he's ready to take a break. But, it was funny. I was watching something with him. I think it was Ariel Helwani he had an interview with earlier this week. Sami knows his place in this whole thing. He's Muslim. He's probably the most successful Muslim wrestler.
Probably.
That and he's always the thing that really stuck out to me with that is that he was never a stereotype. Now, as a Muslim, I obviously was El Generic.
Right. Yeah.
I think
like when he was Fidel Castro.
Yeah. That was more of a goofy thing than anything. He was never a stereotype. He wasn't like, the Iron Sheik or
Nikolai Volkov.
Go really extreme with that. But he knows this, but he understands that he has a great position as what he's been booked as, what he's done in wrestling, and he knows what he's inspiring to the next generation, which I'd love to see. So, he's gonna lose this match, but I'm not gonna forget what he said this week because I think that's very important in the business as a whole, and as and he understands what he needs, where his place is in this whole thing. That said, Gunther is fucking awesome, and he's going to beat his ass.
Yep, I agree. Nothing against Sami. Unless Sheamus somehow replaces Sami Zayn in this match, Gunther's winning it.
That would be a
even if Sheamus does replace him. Gunther's awesome. He's a great guy, by the way. And he's fantastic. He's very literal. Very, very
literal.
Very part of the world. Like, anything you could possibly think of, like how Germans are very literal and Austrians are very literal. That's how he is.
Yeah.
So, but very good guy, very nice.
All right, I'm going to ask you guys: Cody and Seth or Roman and The Rock? Is everybody taking Roman and The Rock so we can see Bloodline rules for combat for Sunday?
Yeah,
the final boss is going to laser their ass.
Yeah.
I don't think Dwayne's losing a match if he's there. So
that's a clean sweep for the main event. I will say this: Nicole has differentiated on us for 3 of them. She does have Becky Lynch beating Rhea. She's got Sami Zayn beating Gunther, and she has Ray and Dominic beating, or not Ray and Dominic. She's got Ray and whoever to be determined against Dominic and Santos Escobar for night 1. This brings us to night 2's predictions.
Yeah.
Io and Bayley Women's Championship.
Ooh, that's going to be a good match. A very good match. The build to this has been arguably the best for this WrestleMania, I think. A lot of callbacks to, when Bayley turned on Sasha Banks, became a heel. And then now Dakota Kai turning on Bayley and Io and Asuka turning on her. The whole thing where it's like, I learned some Japanese. I know you've been talking shit. Loved it.
Yeah.
Io Sky, Io Shirai, whatever we want to call her.
Yeah.
Fucking fantastic wrestler. She is so good. All the Japanese women in WWE are excellent. Asuka's
another thing I just have to say, sorry, Hefe. The fact that they now allow, the Japanese wrestlers to speak in their native tongue and they just subtitle them gives, there's a different vibe to it.
It's more legit.
And it allows them to be more comfortable.
Yes.
Speaking, and yeah, they have to pre-tape these things, but it's so much better than having them in front of a live audience speaking broken English. And by the way, I love me some Asuka, and she does not need to speak English to be able to communicate with the audience.
No, that's the whole point. Like their characters don't need that. I mean, you look at Asuka; she's an all-time great in the ring. Her work speaks for itself. Kairi Sane is just incredible. She is so good. It's so cool to see that they're able to just be themselves now, and it adds to the stories so much. It's just so much better that they're just able to just do what they need to do. I mean, you look, it's so weird that WWE is like that, right? Or Vince was like that.
It used to be. It was Vince and Kevin Dunn.
It was very rare they were like that, because if you watch any baseball game, like from the last 15 years, if there is someone on one of these major league teams that is not comfortable speaking English, there's a translator. Now, we've had a very significant story with the translator recently, but at the same time, it's like, okay, well, if you're not comfortable speaking English, that's not fair to the performer or the athlete. That is also not fair to the journalists and the reporters and the TV people who are giving these interviews, because like, you don't want to misquote them. You don't want to mess something up or take something out of context, or maybe they don't understand the language and they say something wrong, and it blows back on them.
Right.
Like, that's just not fair. So it's good to see that, Kairi and Io and Asuka can just speak Japanese. Someone's there to subtitle it. It's not like they can't speak English. We know they can. But it's better that they're just comfortable with their native language. It does not take away from the story at all. In fact, I think it actually adds in a very strong way. And this has made this build very, very, very good. It's like I said, Bobby, I think you were out of the room. I think it's been the best build for any match at WrestleMania.
I would love to say that I agree, just because I've been excited about this. This is Bayley's moment. Bayley deserves all this. I just think that it's kind of been underwhelming because of the fact that it's kind of taken the back burner type of thing to the whole bloodline thing now that The Rock is involved. So It doesn't feel like it has that extra snap to it like it could have.
Things involved. Look at the Owens match 2 years ago with Austin. It was the Austin versus Owens. You have a major star like that, of course it's going to take away from the other one. I'm not saying
that the build-up was bad. I'm just saying that it felt like it was overshadowed by the fact that the bloodline was doing what they're doing.
Everything was overshadowed by that.
But everything was overshadowed by that. It just was. That's their biggest attraction at this WrestleMania is. But when it comes to everyday performers, when it comes to, this has been boiling for a long time. How long has Bayley had Damage Control? Probably about a
couple years, 2 years.
Yeah, it was at SummerSlam that they were introduced when Triple H took over from the dastardly Voldemort.
Yes.
On a similar note, so like they've been doing subtitles. I just have to throw this out there. One of the best shows on TV right now is Shogun, and like 3/4 of it is in Japanese.
That's it.
Subtitles. It's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what language you speak, like it's awesome. So, and I feel almost that's what's going on right now with the various Japanese wrestlers, including Nakamura and Io and Asuka and Kairi Sane. It's great.
Now, did I miss any of the predictions? Did you guys predict the match?
No predictions for the match. I am going to go out there. I'm going with Io Sky. I think she retains.
Wow.
I like, as much as it feels like Bayley has all this momentum, she's a baby face, and you know what? She needs to right the wrong that was done to her. I want to see Io continue on this reign.
Not only is Bayley winning on Sunday, Bayley has, for the first time ever, gotten my lock for WrestleMania. Bayley will walk out as WWE Women's Champion, and you can take it to the bank. Because not only are we going to get bubbly Bailey back, but we're going to get the wacky waving inflatable Bailey buddy.
No, buddies.
With a couple of buddies, Bailey, and she's my lock.
Okay.
Lock. I'm with you on this one. Bailey's going to have the title. Io's had a great run, but this is Bailey's time. You know, this is a culmination of all the storyline, and she has to win here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nicole agrees with us on Bailey.
Okay.
The triple threat match, U.S. Championship, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, and Logan Paul.
It's gonna be fun. well, you know how the catch-22 with the SummerSlam and land, right? Is that this motherfucker has to fucking win for this one. So Logan Paul's winning the U.S. He's going to retain U.S. title, and he will be champion at least going into SummerSlam. He'll probably retain it there too.
He's going to lose it to LA Knight at SummerSlam.
Yeah. Well, no, he's not losing at SummerSlam. They're not going to let him lose in Cleveland, even though no one fucking likes him there anyway. So
I agree.
Yeah.
I hate to admit it, but I think Logan Paul's walking out with the title.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I agree with that. I believe Logan is going to end up with the title. Part of me would love for my scenario of Mike Tyson coming out and knocking him the hell out to be a thing. Another part of me would love to see Stone Cold Steve Austin come out and stunner Captain Cupcake again and cost Captain Cupcake the title and help Logan Paul retain, but then that would make him a heel, so that won't happen.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Philadelphia Street Fight. Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits going up against Careless Cross and the Authors of Pain.
With this match, it feels like neither team is going anywhere, but of what they're doing, it feels like the Final Testament has to win. It feels that way. Honestly, it feels like both teams have to win. You know what? It probably should be a double countout or a double DQ match, quite honestly, so they could just keep on going. And I actually enjoy the work of all of them because there's a lot of big beefy dudes that are beating the shit out of each other.
So I'm already fully vested.
But I'm going to go with the Final Testament winning this match. If they're ever going to try to get Karrion Kross over, if they're going to try to get the Authors of Pain over, now's the time.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing about Karrion Kross. He sucks. But the thing is, Triple Paul likes him. A lot. And they keep trying to push him, and they keep trying, and the real attraction is Scarlett. So I do think that, the Final Testament wins. And they're just going to try to kick this can down the road as long as they can. I mean, no Booker's perfect. We know that. So
yeah, that's the guy for AEW.
Yeah, exactly. But even Triple H has his guys that, maybe we don't see it, but maybe he sees something that we don't see.
Right.
And Karrion Kross has always been kind of that guy.
Yeah.
So I've never seen anything in him that screams anything. So
yeah, he's nothing special.
No.
That's why the guys will be going. Both of us will be going with the Lashley group because me, I have a very, very strong opinion of how I feel about Bobby Lashley, so I'm picking him to win.
Yeah,
I am a big fan of the Almighty, and I love the Street Profits.
Yeah.
So then there was two. AJ Styles versus LA Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is he doing it?
LA Knight has to win, baby.
He has to. I mean, look at this. All right. AJ Styles, love the guy. one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. He's getting up there. Not to say LA Knight's young either. He's not young at all. But oh god, I was chugging my spit. But LA Knight's so hot. He's been so hot. They cooled him off a little bit, which I didn't understand. But I think with this build, two great. This is like the culmination of TNA. This is a culmination of Impact Wrestling that, well, essentially that I grew up with. Yeah, you grew up with. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say grow up with, but you know what I mean. I didn't really grow up with them either. I mean, like TNA was a thing in like but it didn't become what it was until like 2008. But these guys carried that promotion for a very long time. And I think having a match between those two at this stage kind of proves TNA was a little bit legitimate. I mean, let's be real.
You know what? TNA always, in my view, was legit. It was just, the homerism of the fanboys out there. If it's not WWE, it sucks. If it's not TNA, it sucks. If it's not AEW, it sucks. Screw you all. Good wrestling is good wrestling.
Good wrestling is good wrestling.
Yeah.
All right, Brainless One. Who do you got?
Oh, LA Knight. Yeah.
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 Gotta go with LA Knight. I gotta make sure this thing doesn't fall over.
All right. So we all got LA Knight. So that means we got Seth Franklin Rollins going against Drew McIntyre.
Ooh, gonna be a great match. Gonna be a very good match. Seth coming off the injury, working to be very strong for this. So honestly, we're gonna see what Seth really has night one. I think. I know they're worried about it. I know he's probably a little bit worried about it. But I think he's gonna be okay. At least to do WrestleMania. At least to do what he needs to do here. Drew McIntyre wins. Seth's gonna have to rehab, but I think it's still gonna be a good match.
Okay.
I agree. I think, they keep on, there are news stories out there saying Drew McIntyre may not have much time left on his contract. Well, why do they keep on putting him on promotional posters? That tells me that he's re-signed. They just are keeping it quiet. Tim in the comments saying he believes McIntyre with Punk interference. Even though you would think that Punk would not want Drew McIntyre to win, Punk wants to have his hands on McIntyre at Land SummerSlam and get that opportunity for the World Heavyweight Championship.
Okay. I'm going, this is my crazy tinfoil hat theory for this. It's going to come to a point where they both get involved with CM Punk, and CM Punk's calling on commentary. Punk's going to come out because he's going to get shoved. And he's going to be right behind like Seth Rollins. McIntyre's going to go and hit him with a Claymore. Rollins will miss, hit Punk. Somehow Rollins will get back in the ring with McIntyre. McIntyre pins him. 1, 2, 3. After the match, CM Punk gets pissed off and starts hitting him with the robotic elbow. Beats the shit out of Drew McIntyre. Seth and Punk start arguing on the way back to the ring. Then all of a sudden, spooky bells. Damian Priest comes out, cashes in, and becomes new World Heavyweight Champion.
All right, Gags the Clown has a prediction I think you'll appreciate, Brainless One.
Ooh.
Drew is going to squash Seth Franklin Rollins.
Ow.
I don't see that.
I don't see it.
I can see it as a possibility.
It's a possibility.
They've been putting out those little nuggets of things saying, maybe Seth is stretching himself too thin. He stretches himself so thin after getting beat down by the final boss on night one. He gets Homelandered laser eyes, and he just can't take the heat. And Drew McIntyre beats him quickly and then cuts off his head and then he says there can only be one.
Okay. Okay. I have no issues with that. You know me, I love a good squash match. I would love to see it, but we'll see.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me just because of the fact that he is involved in that whole tag team match the night before. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I can see it more believable now. What happens in the main event? Does Roman's reign continue, or does Cody finally finish his story?
I know what Jeff wants.
I want Durner.
Kiss him.
I want Roman Reigns to win this fucking match. And here's why. You know what? I'm gonna take you back 20 years to WrestleMania 20, to a match we're not allowed to talk about. It was Shawn Michaels versus Triple H versus Redacted. And Redacted won the match because it was a culmination of his career and all his hard work and and all that bullshit. And he shared the hug with Eddie Guerrero in the ring, all that fun stuff that we can't look back on fondly now because of what he did.
Good moment when it happened.
Great moment. Everyone loved it, and now we can't even fucking talk about it without cringing.
Yep.
And years later, Triple H versus Dave versus Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan wins the match with the same move as Redacted and becomes World Heavyweight Champion, the Undisputed Champion, or whatever the fuck. And, has a whole celebration. It's a great combination of his career. He's one of the best in-ring performers of all time. Same old shit. Are we really going to do this again for another decade? For another even-numbered WrestleMania? Please.
Yes.
Please. No.
Don't forget, Bret Hart won the world title from Yokozuna in the main event of WrestleMania 10.
Yeah, and that was a culmination of all his hard work and all his shit.
Especially after he lost to his brother in the opening match.
Yes.
And had the duel.
It was the same fucking thing. Do we need to see that again?
It's going to happen.
It's almost going to be the same thing again, except it's going to be on 2 nights instead of 1. Like, is this going to be a tradition every 10 years?
Yep.
No. I think that's a terrible idea. I think we got to break tradition. I think we got to break, this mold and really establish Roman Reigns as this mega fucking star. And I don't know if this is what I think is going to happen, but it's what I hope happens. I hope Roman Reigns walks out of that with both those belts or all those belts or whatever fucking belt. I don't fucking remember.
He's going to walk out with the Mama Rhodes belt that has Cody's blood on it.
Yes.
He's going to walk out with the Universal Championship, the former WWE Championship. And
walk out with all the belts, and may as well just put the World Heavyweight title on him too while we're at it. So
he's going to steal the briefcase from Priest and cash it in on Drew.
Yeah, exactly. So he'll cash in on himself to become champion again.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm all about, it's so funny. I've turned the corner so hard on Roman Reigns. I think I was like a lot of people. We were all tired of him, the way he was presented, the way he was booked. But that's mainly Vince McMahon's fault.
Yeah.
Now that he's out of the picture, this is awesome. It's so weird, right? Like, getting out of the way is
all hell. Oh, and it's gotten so much better.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you got, Cousin Jay?
I'm going with Cody. I think Cody finally finishes the story because the thing is, there's only so long the audience, I think, will wait before it's like, before like they just give up hope of him finishing the story. I mean, El Jefe, I'm going to put it at like 25% chance that Roman retains, but I think more likely than not, Cody finds a way to win, Tim is putting in the chat that he believes this is going to be, like Endgame style, where everybody and their mother comes out, and the final boss is going to be Stone Cold Steve Austin,
which would be
who
awesome.
is going to take out the other final boss, The Rock.
Yeah.
And then
Stone Cold comes out and kicks The Rock's ass. I will be the happiest person on the planet.
That's going to rival Bucky Beaver getting my mark out moment if Austin comes out.
Yeah, if I hear the glass shatter on Sunday night, I mean,
it's going to break the internet.
It'll break me.
Yeah.
Like, you know how I feel about Austin. He's the greatest of all time. He's my favorite wrestler ever.
Same.
Nothing will ever change that.
Nope.
So
I agree. I think it's going to be a situation where both John Cena and Stone Cold get involved in this match to even the odds. Them kind of passing the torch as two of the greatest legends in the business to the next big babyface in WWE history with Cody Rhodes, because he has assumed that position. And I'm going with Cody. Cody finally finishes the story. And I was on the fence because I said, you know what? I've been predicting Roman to lose at every other WrestleMania, and he has won every single time. I should change my pick to have him win just to kind of jinx it. But no, I am going with Cody Rhodes finishing the story, getting the hockey assist from both John Cena and Stone Cold Steve Austin as he wins the championship.
Okay.
love it.
All right. In the chat, Gags Declan said, hey, Brainless One, off topic, but have you seen the Mikey Whipwreck interview where he talks about getting something shoved up his ass in front of 1997 Sonny?
No, I did not. I'll have to go and check that out.
He said, I will send it to you, but Cody wins, gets attacked by Priest, who cashes in, wins. Cody finished the story, but a new one starts, and Roman disappears until SummerSlam.
Okay. Interesting. I don't hate it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I like the part about Mikey Whipwreck getting something shoved up his butt in front of Sonny, but
yeah, I don't like that one either.
So anyway,
that's it for the predictions. Does that mean it's time for the good, the bad,
and the brainless,
and the brainless? Well, I gotta go move back to where I was.
Oh, Tim's saying the new Catch Republic taken out by the Spooky Pals.
Oh, not the Spooky.
Well, there goes that prediction. It'll be over before it even starts.
Yeah.
All right, Cousin Jay, what do you got for your good this week?
I got to go with WWE's Bray Wyatt documentary. It was really well done, tastefully done, and they showed you a different side of Bray Wyatt. That they didn't shy away from the fact that he was let go by the company, and they talked about how creative he was, and that probably made him a little bit difficult at times because he had a clear vision in his head, and it may have been a great idea to him, but maybe it would not have connected with the audience. And, when you have a boss over you saying like, I don't know about this, and you complain about it, but that Bray Wyatt documentary was awesome, and really brought to light even more of the phenomenon of Bray Wyatt, the fact that he was just so multifaceted as a performer, as a person, as an artist. It was great.
Can't argue that. I got to check it out.
I have to see it too, but I do think a good for me coming out. I did not watch the documentary, but I know what happened at the end. Was that someone we used to call Uncle Lousy, Uncle Howdy, is definitely going to make a debut here at some point, whether it's going to be at the Raw after WrestleMania. Maybe he shows up at WrestleMania. Who knows? Maybe he shows up in the AJ Styles LA Knight match.
Yeah.
With the Undertaker.
What?
With the Undertaker player.
Yeah. It is Bo Dallas. We knew that was going to be that when I think that was the plan even before Bray's untimely passing. It's good that they paint him in a light. I did say, I think when it happened, I think it was back, what was it? Was it August, October?
August.
was August of last year. I did say this when it happened. I do think he's kind of this generation Eddie Guerrero. You know, he was a world champion, very popular wrestler, taken from us too soon, very young age. So he's going to have a lot of more with him. So we'll be hearing a lot about Bray Wyatt for the next however many years. We still hear about Eddie to this day. It's been 20 years since he passed away.
Just about.
So it's good that WWE's out there now, just to see, test the waters with that and, get his story out there, like, preliminarily. Obviously, we're going to hear a lot more about him over the next few years. Obviously, people loved him. No one had anything bad to say about this. I mean, I've never heard a negative story about Bray Wyatt. Ever.
Same.
So you really get that these days. So it's good that he made such an impact on people. Now, that said, now his brother has a massive, massive weight on his shoulders.
Yep.
And now introducing him in the way they did at the end of this documentary, I think Bray would have loved it. You know how Bray was with creative.
Yeah.
And it's in I forget his real name, Bo Dallas's court.
Taylor
court to just do this, to take the torch from his brother. Everyone really wanted to see them work together for a very long time. They never really got to on the big stage. I'm pretty sure they did in FCW.
Well, they did, technically speaking, at the Royal Rumble where Uncle Lousy ended up
yes, pitch black
jumping. Yeah.
And then Bray got sick, and then that just kind of led one thing led to another, and then he ultimately passed. Yes. But he has a good opportunity here to carry on the legacy, not just of him, but his father, his grandfather, and I think he'll run with it. Same with Jimmy Uso. He had some trouble in the past, with little substance issues. I hope to God that is cleared up now, because him and I are around the same age. So hopefully he's matured enough to understand the kind of situation he's in right here. He has a lot to prove. He has a lot to carry on here, and I really hope that he makes the most of this opportunity here.
Me too.
And if he happens to get one of his former, tag team partners, maybe to also go underneath some sort of fun little horror, gimmick.
Yes.
Perhaps we could get a reunion of the B team.
B team, go, go, go.
We're the
former tag team champions.
The social outcasts.
The social jobbers. That's that one guy from Tough Enough said and got fired.
All right. I like both of your goods this week, guys. I have to go with The Rock. Not only was that video game type of thing that he posted on TikTok was fantastic. There was a guy earlier this week that him and his son were really big fans of The Rock, and The Rock actually paid for his tickets, his hotel accommodations, food, everything, all on The Rock. So
very nice.
The Rock's doing a great thing, building up their match for WrestleMania, getting involved in the fight at the end where him and Roman were fighting with Seth and Cody at the end of Raw. The video, everything The Rock has done since his return has been great, so I have to give him kudos for my good for this week. What do you got for your bad?
I'm going to go with Tony Khan going back on his word, saying he was never going to release anybody.
Okay.
He said never going to release anybody, and he released 10 people as an April Fool's Day joke that wasn't so funny.
Ha ha ha. What a story, Mark.
I'm in a tangent off of that. Some of those people he released weren't doing anything.
Yeah, they weren't doing anything, but when you say, I'm never releasing anybody.
Sure. But to piggyback off that, Jay, my brainless is the fact he released Dasha. Dasha has become so good at what she does. She used to kind of suck in NXT. She became so good at what she does, and she's going to land on her feet. She's going to do so well.
She'll go back to WWE.
Released her. I mean, Renee Paquette cannot do everything to it all. I love her. She is this generation's Mean Gene Okerlund, but it's
Can't argue that.
not fair to her to be able to do everything. Right. Dasha is coming to her own as a backstage interviewer, as a ring announcer. She was a ring announcer when we went to Collision, Jay, and she was great.
Yeah.
So she's going to be fine. I hope WWE resigns her because she's become so much better. It's become different. I don't think she'll be a ring announcer. I think Sam Irvin's got that down. She's
very good at that.
She's Howard Finkel at this point. I mean, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. So just releasing someone like that and then not releasing someone who does, I mean, he's got so many that don't do shit, man. They don't do anything.
Miro's in Bulgaria and has been for months.
Yeah, he's just hanging out at home. He got divorced. I mean, he's it's so funny. I can't tell Tony Khan what to do with his money. He's clearly got so much money that like I can never even imagine having that much money. But it just seems like a big waste for a lot of talent. And firing someone who is actually talented and who is actually doing something for you at the time just seemed very, very strange.
Okay.
All right, Brainless One, what's your bad?
I got to go with what you said, Jay. I'm going to kind of piggyback off what you said, though. Tony Khan does get my bad for this week, and it's because of the fact that he released people after saying he was never going to release anybody, on top of the fact that everything that came out in this Ariel Helwani interview with CM Punk does not paint Tony Khan in a pretty picture. When you are the boss and they're telling you to do something about it or they're going to have to take matters into your own hands and your response is, what do you want me to do about it? Be a boss. Grow a fucking sack. Grow some fucking testicles and be the fucking boss. You got to stop being their best friends. You need to be their boss. And that's why your company is never going to be at the level of WWE because your boss would rather hug all of his wrestlers than reprimand them.
No, I'm totally with you on this one because there is a balance. Like he tried so hard not to be Vince McMahon that it actually was because you need to be stern with your employees at some point if they're fucking up.
Right.
And he clearly didn't do that with the Jack Perry situation with Punk. And that spiraled out of control, and that really showed, his weakness as a manager. I mean, not to say he doesn't do that with the Jaguars, not to say he doesn't do that with whatever football team he owns in England.
I think it's Liverpool.
Liverpool? Yeah. I mean, they're probably a little more cutthroat with that stuff. You cannot let your locker room run rampant. You can't let your wrestlers run your style. We saw what happened in WCW 25 years ago.
Yep.
And what happened to that? So
Urban Liar.
Yeah, exactly. So he really needs. I hope this is kind of a wake-up call for him in a way. Now hearing Punk saying stuff like this, Brandy Rhodes said something very similar. Cody said, Cody was a little bit nicer about what he said because it was good for Cody that he went there.
Yeah.
But he needs to really understand that if he ever wants to, they're not going to be on WWE's level ever. WWE is such a global brand. But if they want to be a big player, if they want to have viewership, if they want to capture the audience that they want to capture, he's going to be a little more stern. He has to be a little smarter about who he signs and who he gives power to and who he pushes.
Yep.
And if he doesn't do that, I mean, I'm not saying AEW is going to die. I don't think it will. I think it's got enough momentum with a certain sect of wrestling fans that they're going to be okay for a while. But you don't want to see them fall off anymore because if they're no longer perceived as a threat by WWE, that's when WWE starts getting worse.
Yeah.
And we need AEW to be successful. We need WWE to be successful. We need both these things to be good products for wrestling fans to consume because they make each other better. They do.
I agree. 100% agree.
All right.
What do you got for your brainless?
I gotta go with the Fairmont Hotel. Like, what they did is inexcusable. Check your records to see if the person is staying in the hotel before you decide to say, yeah, we think you're a prostitute. Yeah, she was dressed in probably something way more revealing than they're used to.
She's hot.
But
no argument.
Really? Fairmont Hotel, come on, man.
I agree.
Get my Brainless this week.
I agree. I kind of give it to 2 because I forgot about the Fairmont Hotel kicking out my favorite women's wrestler, Chelsea Green, earlier this week. Because I have to go. I have to go with AEW fans too, just because. Come on, let Punk go out there, have his little interview. Your freaking EVPs, your favorite wrestlers, they're not coming out and saying shit. It was Tony Khan. They're all afraid because they're a bunch of bitches who rather wrestle 9-year-old Chinese girls and blow-up dolls than be considered professional wrestlers. So I'm sorry. You support the wrong company, and whenever they do something wrong, it can't be anything wrong. Oh, CM Punk. What? You know what? CM Punk lives rent-free in AEW's head. WWE lives rent-free in AEW's head. So the fact is that you guys are sitting there and defending these people when it's clearly the fault of the Bucks and Tony Khan that we have gotten to this situation where CM Punk was on the verge of fighting for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania against Seth Rollins. All because Luke Perry refused to practice safe sex.
Rest in peace.
Yeah?
Tim in the chat is saying his Brainless is AEW's reactions on Dynamite from the CM Punk interview.
Yeah, that goes kind of hand in hand with the fans.
Yeah. Well, my Brainless this week, especially I want it to be wrestling related. It's not. Baseball season has started. You know, we're all big baseball fans here.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the Cleveland Guardians for once. They have actually had an excellent start to the season. I'm very impressed with what they're doing.
So are the Red Sox.
Very happy with the pitching. Very happy with just everything they've been doing. I'm very optimistic because Tito's bumness is now out of the locker room.
And Austin Hedges is.
Yeah, exactly. And he's been fine too. It's really weird. Anyway, so there's one particular person in baseball who is my new target. Anthony Rendon. You fucking bum. Are you kidding me, dude? You essentially gave an interview this offseason saying you don't give a fucking shit about baseball, which is fine. It's a job. I get it. But to come out this season, you don't have I don't know if the Angels have played yet. You don't, as of right now, my knowledge, you have 0 hits so far. You have been on base 1 time the entire season. Okay?
That's worse than Crush Davis.
This man gets paid a lot of money. He has a $240 million contract that the Angels are locked into for, I think, the next 2 years. So he gets paid a very significant amount of money. The fact that he just does not give a shit, he is not performing at all. I mean, I know the Angels suck, but you're a big reason they do. So
yeah, you are.
This guy, like, here's the thing. I have a story about this guy. About 12 years ago, I'm working in Erie, Pennsylvania. I was doing an internship there. Erie Seawolves were playing the Nationals affiliate at the time, which is the Harrisburg Senators. This guy would not stop to sign autographs. You're an ass. Okay? Like, fuck this dude. And it's like, you don't care about baseball, but at least give a shit about the people come pay to see you. Just at least try. And he just didn't care. And he doesn't care. He has a teammate. Okay, last time, so, he takes a lot of PTO, by the way. I think he's played maybe less than 200 games since he signed his contract with the Angels. And this is since 2020.
Yeah.
Which I know there's a COVID year in there, but I don't think he's played more than 50 games a year since then. There's a guy on his team, Nolan Shanuel, who was in college, has gone to AA, AAA, and the major leagues and had 33 hits since the last time Anthony Rendon has had a hit in major leagues. So, yeah, he's my Brainless for this week. It's like, dude, it's okay if you don't give a shit. We get it. I don't there's days I don't like my job either. But at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, believe me, we've all been there, El Jefe.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Well, if you like what you see, whether you are a first-time follower or a continuous fan, make sure you like us on Facebook, follow us on the X, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to us on YouTube at the letter T, the letter H, the letter E, the letter F, the letter N, MARKS, FM Marks. Thank God the thing is going on the bottom line so I know how to spell it. And if you like, follow, and subscribe to us, we will do the same back. That has always been our
mantra. And make sure you hit the notifications button so that when we are live, you will be notified that we are live, whether it's on the X, whether it's on the Facebooks, or whether it's on the YouTubes.
YouTube.
Hey, YouTube's probably.
And also make sure you subscribe to us on Spotify so that you will be able to take the show on the road with you wherever you may go, so you can listen to and or join in on the conversation about our favorite sport we all love to hate, professional
The New York Jets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that is everything.
Yeah, that's absolutely everything. Nothing
I think we got our
left to talk about,
predictions. It's
nothing
you
at
know, we
all.
got the top 10 list. You know, everything else is figured out. I don't think so. I know that this is the special edition WrestleMania podcast, but realize there is still one more thing. What is that? FM Marks Hall of Famer Curtis Axel. What is that final thing? Well, Brainless One, today, April 5th, which is the day before WrestleMania, at an astonishing 3,358 days, I, FM Marks Hall of Famer, is still alive in the 2015 Royal Rumble. So for episode 354 of everyone's favorite wrestling podcast, the FM Marks,
I'm Jay. He is.
I am the Brainless One, and he is.
I'm El Jefe.
Make sure you mug out
With your guac out. See everybody. Enjoy WrestleMania, and we will see you next week.
Yeah.
Thank boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.